Are we live? We're live.
Live? Yeah.
Should we be live? Tottenham Hotspur have just been dumped out of the second cup in 5 days, 96 hours. We were in 3 cups 4 days ago. We're now out of 2. No, we're in 3 cups, 4 competitions. Now we're out of 2. Let's start that whole thing again. Can we do a second take? No, we can't because we're live. It's the beauty of live streaming. What an absolute disgrace. I mean, I've got to be honest, it's time to go. It has to be time to go. I know I've given him as much leverage, as much rope as possible, but he has well and truly hung himself. And you know what? Tonight, people, if you want some swear words, if you want some anger, if you want some demonetization in the first fucking minute,
Hey.
Are you hungry for some demonetization? Tonight we feast. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we feast. What the hell was that first 30 minutes? I went downstairs, I turned on the TV, and I heard a raucous. And I was like, oh, this Aston Villa lot must be up for it. Good atmosphere. No, it wasn't that. We were 1-0 down inside 30 seconds. And those of you that were calling for Brandon Austin probably felt vindicated. Talking to you, Johnny boy. But to be entirely honest, Vicario, Kinsky was the best player on the Tottenham field. And the second best player, in my opinion, in the first half was Micky Moore. And he gets hooked at half-time for a guy to play a 6 who isn't a 6. And all I've been asking for 2 bloody years is a fucking 6 to sit in front of that poxy defence and protect. Because in the first half an hour, there was no protection. There was no protection. There was no lube. It was going in dry. It was going in dry on your first date. It was embarrassing. Were we better in the second half? Marginally. Did we improve slightly in the last 15 minutes? Marginally. Matisse Tell getting his goal. Fair play. We'll talk about that. I got Drusilla. I got Blaine that are in the house with me to go through it. I hope you are as frustrated as I am. Twice in 4 days, Ange Postecoglou has shown his colours. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, but Sean, you're not Ange out. I'm balanced. I played both cards. I played both sides of the coin. I let you know that there's this side and there's this side to consider. And I'm empathetic to the injuries. I am. But at the end of the day, it's been a long time coming. But I always said you need 2 things to make me go proper Ange out. 1 is out of the cups. 2 is abject observations of things that represent the equivalent of a fucking team that doesn't believe. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, that first 30 minutes was all you needed to see. It got better, but it wasn't really ever close. It could have been 7 against us if it wasn't for some brilliant keeping from our keeper. Blaine, how the fuck are you? And what you got to say, mate? We're going to get going. By the way, before you answer, the link, if anyone wants to come on, the link is in the chat. I'll pop it in again. You got to keep your camera on and just don't use the C word. Okay, that's all I ask. That's all I ask. Blaine.
Well, Callum.
Yeah, no Callums. No Callums tonight.
And Costo, no fucking clue, Sean. That's what it is, mate. You're saying you want a 6. We have a fucking 6. His name is Archie Gray.
Right.
Why go into a cup match knowing you need to win to progress and you don't play Ben Davies? You're going to get a 7 or an 8 out of 10 out of him. Put fucking Gray where he's supposed to play.
It's ridiculous. It's actually madness. Ben Davies cannot surely be that exhausted that Pedro Porro can still play, by the way. Pedro Porro, Decky, one of the worst performances I've ever seen. What on God's green earth was going through Ange Postecoglou's mind when he went, let's take off Micky Moore? He was the only player the only outfield player in the first half that showed any gusto to me. I don't know if you agree, Blaine. I don't know if you agree. But what the fuck is going on?
It blew up in your WhatsApp as well. We all thought exactly the same. What the fuck is Ange playing at? Why? Yeah, I get you want to shore up the midfield because we were getting carved open every 5 seconds. Fair enough. But come on. Sonny done nothing. Decky was doing fuck all. You could have hooked somebody else before you take off. The brightest spark that we had on the pitch in the first 30 minutes.
Can we all agree, right? Park the, fearful of getting some pushback from the Korean fan base who aren't afraid to call people out. But can we all agree that he's living off of his past? He's living off of what, and Tottenham fans that defend it are remembering the Sonny of 2012 to 2000 or 2014 to 2023 and a half, because the last 18 months Sonny has been not a chance. Losing Harry Kane, it was like losing a son or something. Drew, what's going on, mate? How you feeling? You there, Drew? Oh, I thought you were just pensive. You've actually frozen.
I
thought you were about to, I thought you was like, Alexander, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy. Can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, as good as can be after watching that. I mean, I'm as baffled as you are by the fact that Micky Moore got hooked. I thought he provided the only real moments of quality going forwards in the second half. And although we were a bit more sort of solid in midfield, but they were sitting back. They weren't really, they were once they got the goal, they were just hitting us on the break. And first half we were pretty sloppy and couldn't keep the ball. Second half we kept the ball better, but we didn't really create anything. And my biggest thing is, I think Sonny has been, when we wanted our captain or needed our captain to step up, he's just completely disappeared. And I'm concerned by that, very concerned by that. And that is sad, because he is a great player of Tottenham Hotspur. There's no denying that. Although he hasn't won anything in a Spurs shirt, he's been a wonderful player for Tottenham, and he's given us, some amazing moments as fans. But every great player has to look at the end of their career, and I think unfortunately, we might be looking at that with Sonny.
If he was, I'm sorry, this is like, I'm not even going to. We are going to start with him because we're talking about him. And Drew, good to see you back, man. Because I thought you were sitting there like you were like this. So I was like, oh, this man's really thinking about what I'm saying. Like, don't think that hard about it, mate. I'm just going to rant. So that you're frozen. Like, Drew, I mean, first of all, tell us where you're at. But like, we'll start with Sonny because he's obviously I brought him up because someone said it. But
right.
If Sonny had been signed by the club this season, we would be looking at him going, what the fuck have we spent? He's a 10 million. He's not even a 10 million pound player right now, is he? His confidence is absolutely shot. His ability to cross the ball in, his fight off the ball, his work rate. I remember in that second half, in the 70th minute, Jed Spence flies down the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. Sonny's supposed to be there to support him, and Sonny's just trotting along. No, I get you're tired. I get you're tired, right? But Pedro Porro, and I also understand Pedro Porro is 10 years younger, but Pedro Porro has been playing thousands more minutes than basically everybody else, and yet he still manages to get back, still fights. I don't think he had his best performance today. I thought he looked petulant and aggressive and some of the tackles and stuff, but like, is Sonny just washed up now? Can we just put this down to, we can't put it down to just tiredness, right? We have to actually shake hands with the fact that this man is not the player that he was 18 months ago. And
I think to be honest with you, it's column A and column B, right? I mean, here's the thing, and I'm just going to try as I'm furious. And I said yesterday that I started everything off by saying I'm Anjin and da 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 da. And do you know what? I would be an absolute hypocrite and a bit of a dick if, on the basis of 90 minutes and an abject performance yet again, I just changed my mind. Like, I just can't bring myself to be there yet. But having said that, I agree and understand with everything that everybody is saying, because it's such an abject performance that you do have to start to question whether his message or his voice is actually even getting through anymore. On the question of Son, and on the question of and I'm just going to keep harping on, and I'm going to sound like a broken record. And you know what? If I have to die on this hill a little bit, or lose an arm or a leg, then so be it. But these guys are so tired and so fatigued that they are not having the opportunity to even do anything. Exactly. Well, no, exactly. This is the problem, right? And I completely get that, Sean. And this is why when I saw when I saw the lineup, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I don't like Son going down the middle, because if you are going to play Son down, no, but I don't like Sonny in the 9, because if you're going to play him in the 9, then you have to play balls down the channel. And that's something that we don't do. We go out wide and try and put balls in, which is something he's never been very good at getting on across. So no, I don't want him in the 9. But by the same token, if you're then going to put Mikey Moore, who's at least got some stamina in him, and if you're going to put Tell, who has at least got some stamina in him on both wings, I would have expected him to say to Sonny, do you know what? Just sit in the 9. Just sit here and just let the guys come down the wing and just put it into you. Don't fucking, if you've got no stamina, then use as little as possible. Either that or, like you say, just go for it. Just do something else. Just leave him on the bench. Put Tell up the middle, which is what I wanted, and put a Jai on
it's
the
also
right
what
wing.
Bayern Munich instructed, right? He's a 9. He's not a left winger, according to the guy from Sky Germany, who follows him more than any of us, and probably Ange Postecoglou does. But does Ange do it any other way other than his own? No. But I'll be entirely honest. I remember popping on to Hotspur Hood about Christmas time for 5 minutes when I was having a conversation, because Stella and I were about to duke it out. And I wasn't sure if he was aware or whatever that I'd said on the stream. So I popped onto Hotspur Hood to say it to Stell. And then before I left, Danny goes, just Sean, before you go, none of us are sure what your stance is on Postecoglou. And I said, I'm leaving out in all but name because, sorry, I'm Ange out in all but name because I just don't think you can sack a guy who's still in all the competitions that we have any chance of winning. You have to wait until at least 2 of those 3 are done, or the players have to have dropped the ball to a sufficient level that makes you think, in summary, that he's lost the dressing room, which both are obvious. I'm sorry, both are.
I don't know that the dressing room one's obvious, dude. I really don't. I just don't know that
there's many ways that you can interpret losing the dressing room. And I think Thursday night was one of them. It wasn't like we're not playing for Ange. It's, I don't understand what the fuck Ange wants us to do. We spent 18 months playing Ange ball. And then according from the horse's mouth, Drew, Ange is saying we don't even train anymore because we're playing twice a week. We're traveling here and there. We've got all these injuries, recovery time. We've got to sleep. So we're barely even on the training field. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So he's using that as a reason why injuries are not his fault, which is the thing that's thrown around. But if that's the case, if 2 things have to be true at the same time, if A is true, that injuries aren't his fault because we're barely on the training ground, then B has to be true, that what the fuck are you doing twisting the fucking strategy 180 if you have had no time to prepare for it?
Sean, if you're gonna turn around and say absolutely what just came out of his mouth you're gonna take as the gospel, then you've also got to take that he turned around and said that he sent him out there and he didn't tell them to play like that. And they just went into their shells and clammed up and basically shit themselves at Anfield, which if you look at the past and you look at teams that have gone there, they might not have shut themselves to that extent, but not many teams go there and win. And not off the back of being absolutely like, I'm sorry, I'm going to sound like a broken record again, but they look gassed then. And the only thing that's happened today is that they've got 79 to 90 more minutes in their legs, and they're still fatigued. And they had to travel back to London, go back in at what, 2?
Change the team then.
Exactly. I'm with you on that. Change the fucking team. I get it.
Change it. And we don't care about the F-bombs tonight. We don't care. Demonetize me all the way. I'm going to bring Tom in. I'm going to bring, is it Jose tonight or is it El Tel? Are you doing Alex or are you THFC or are you box office? What are you tonight? Jose? I'll put you on mute. Go on.
Just truthful Jose I'll be tonight.
Truthful Jose. There you go. I'm going to put you on. Because we have been demonetized already, I'm going to really appreciate things like Crocodox here who's saying, good to see you, mate. I take back my previous thoughts. Mason would do better for Europa. No joke. Do you know what? I said it on Twitter earlier. I said the only rationale for keeping Ange right now is because of Tina, right? There is no alternative. But you know what? I don't think it fucking matters. I don't think Ryan Mason, as much as I think he's a donut, and he shouldn't be at the club. I think he should go off and fend for himself. He's like the geezer that never leaves home. He's like the 40-year-old virgin who lives in his mother's basement the whole time. I don't really care. Him, Postecoglou, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the way we're playing right now. Tom, welcome to the show, mate. I think this is your debut. I did meet you, didn't I, in Tottenham a couple of weeks ago at the stadium, right? Yeah, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. But good to see you on the show. Good to see you from the WhatsApp group. Where you at, mate? Where you at?
For me,
is that
today,
just Tom? Oh, big up, mate. Hello. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right.
Oh, yeah, my eyes are going.
Yeah, I just thought today, like watching that, we just look like a bunch of headless chickens. It's like they know they have to press, but they don't know how to press. And it was just like in day between what Villa were doing and what we were doing. Like, I genuinely at one point was questioning whether or not Villa had like 13 players on the pitch, because it seemed like wherever we were passing the ball, they just had players, and that's because they're in a good setup. They're obviously well drilled with Emery and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not on the fence with Ange. I think any other manager at this point, any other time, you would sack him. My biggest worry is, and a bit like how you are, Sean, with the whole Levy out thing, is who comes in. Like, who genuinely like comes in to replace him? And then you're bringing him back. Bring any manager you're bringing them into a squad of like nothingness because there's so many out injured. Okay, you could argue, well, if they're all due back soon, maybe that's the perfect time to bring a new manager in because they suddenly get all of the players coming back. But it was just abysmal today, and I agree a little bit with what Drew was saying, like in terms of Liverpool, not many teams go there and win, and Ange said that they didn't play, he told them to play. But I think this is a symptom of actually one thing that people criticised Ange for was that he weren't adapting and he weren't changing. Well, I actually think over the last 2.5 months, he's actually gone so far away from what he like originally was doing that we're now just seeing the fallout of the players actually not knowing what they're supposed to do at all. Like, the press is so reactionary rather than actually being planned out, and it's just a bunch of headless chickens and stuff. And I think it's so hard to say whether he's lost the dressing room or not, because you see fight from the players at times, or some of the players, the younger players, and fight from the senior players.
Is that only at times, mate? I want to see fight.
Yeah.
But like from the get-go, like 1 minute in, and like I said at the start, Kinsky kept it down to 2. He was, I know, like you can't, the consequences of a mistake as a goalkeeper are horrendous. A striker can miss 10, gilt edge chance to score the 11th and a 1-0 win and be a hero. If you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, you're the villain, whatever happens, because as you go further back down the pitch, the consequences of a mistake are amplified, right? But he was fantastic tonight in everything apart from the first 45 seconds. But everybody else, to a man in that first 30 minutes, was, again, that midfield shambolic. And as much as I'm a massive advocate for Lucas Berghvall, Tom, Lucas Berghvall is going to be a red card merchant. That geezer, as much as I love him, he needs to calm the fuck down, maybe like I do, because
but Sean, he needs someone. He's
going to get done a 10 men so many times if he carries on the way he's going.
He needs someone next to him with an experienced head that can tell him that can get him through that game. At the moment, he seems to be the one leading that midfield as an 18 just turned 19-year-old. When you've got players like Bissouma and Bentancur, who are meant to be your elder statesmen, your older, your more experienced heads, that
get
are just
both out of my club, mate. Get them both out of my club this summer.
I would get rid of. I would get rid of both of them. Like, I mean, to be honest, that first goal comes because Porro just completely loses his head and bombs up the pitch when we're not in a position for him to be bombing up the pitch. Bentancur then leaves his midfield place to go and cover for Porro. And then Morgan Rogers can just waltz through the middle. Like, Villa have got a clear way of playing in the terms of as soon as they get that ball, they're just like, go with it. Go for it. What's the point in peeing around with it at the back when we can just go? We've got the players, Rodgers and Ramsey, that can pick up the ball and run with it. We don't have any of those players. We don't have any of those players that can do that. But also, it's just, as much as I like, the things that I can blame Ange for is we were linked with players like Douglas Luiz and players like that who would have seamlessly fit into this team and improved us massively. We didn't seem to bring them in. It's
What
just
what
ridiculous.
happened there? That was such an obvious monster signing that we needed. It was so clear that would have been like an absolute gem, and no interest.
I just the thing for me is we obviously panicked a little bit, and probably rightly so in the January that, oh my god, we need a centre back, oh my god, we need a left back, oh, we need a winger. And actually, like if everyone was fit, yes, we needed another centre back, but actually the next position you're really looking at is midfield. Like as an area that needs to significantly improve is centre midfield, because we don't have any. Like we literally don't have any. Like,
this is what Blaine said. Sorry, Tom. This is what Blaine said. We do have a midfielder. What we paid £40 million for, and no, okay, he's not the like registered, experienced, steady head that you're talking about. I take your point on that. By the way, you do need as much as I put out a video this morning saying go youth, just go young, start the youth, like the youth revolution, and then bring in a manager that actually has an interest. But I'll come across we'll go around the circle. I'll come across to Jose here. Jose, like, what the fuck were we thinking in like Archie Gray? Play him in the 6, mate. Just give him a fucking go in the 6. Ben Davies cannot be that tired unless he picked up an injury that I'm not aware of, which I think I'd be aware of, but I'm not aware of it. So we decided to go with 3 8s in midfield. And after 5 minutes, it should have been clear to everybody with 2 eyes and a brain that was a horrendous decision against that ridiculously tough tackling. John McGinn, for example, the biggest thighs in football. That geezer is rock steady. If you remember like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from like the 90s, that is rock steady. That geezer cannot be lifted or shifted. He is a beast. You need someone in there who's a 6, who can just sit in front of the back 4, protect, not commit, just sit and protect. I've been calling for it for 2 fucking years. And in games like that, the absence of it is so evident. It's palpable. It's staring you straight in the fucking face. And yet you don't do it. But you could have done it from the start. But even after 15, 20, 25, half an hour, you still don't do it. And then when you do make a change at halftime, you take off the only player in the outfield that had any gusto. Like, what are we doing here, Jose? What are we doing, mate?
There's a few points to raise. I've just noticed. I'll try to type it in. Broken Zilla. He's changed his name. Broken Zilla. Big up Broken Zilla. Right. All I'm going to say to start with, I'm going to say, who is Garcia? Never heard of him. Played today. Looked like an absolute top footballer for them, playing at right back. They played with 2 midfielders at centre half when they lost Konza. So they had Bogard and Kamara, who were centre midfielders, playing at centre half. Yet we couldn't lay a glove on them at all. I mean, with the scenario of a defensive 6, sorry, a defensive midfielder, Sean, because I don't like using the numbers, but Postecoglou will maintains and carries on saying that he doesn't play with a defensive midfielder, and therefore he's not going to look for one. I mean, they're talking about Johnny Cardoso maybe in the summer, but yeah, Douglas Luiz, we had an opportunity with him. We had an opportunity with loads of different players. We could have gone out and bought loads of, if you want to call them defensive midfielders in the summer. We could have bought them last year as well, but he doesn't play with them. And, you know, sometimes if you're going to live by the sword, you're going to have to die by the sword. It's quite clear, and it is evident, that we have needed a defensive midfielder ever since.
Say it the way it is, a monster 6.
Ever since, no, I don't talk
the
numbers.
Bible predicted it 2,000 years ago, Jose.
Yeah.
I've been calling you for 2 years. Where is the 666? Where's the devil that we need, bro?
Yeah, it's obvious that we need. And I said yesterday on your show, and I've been saying it on Friday's show that I did, is I would bomb out all these so-called professionals that have been pros for years, and I'd give the kids a chance. I don't care. I think the kids, even if you lose, I think the kids put up more of a fight than what these other players put up. And I called this yesterday, called it Friday. I've called it on every show I've been on. Yet, Mr. Postecoglou, I'm afraid you're going to have to take the blame for me for this, because when you've got players that are not playing, are not in form at all, instead of dropping them and instead of, you know, bringing someone else in to replace them, you continuously pick the same and rotate the same shit over and over again, and we get the same fucking shit results over and over again. you know, at the end of the day, you can look at Bentancur, you can look at Bissouma. Sarr, I don't know what Sarr offers either. Sarr is absolutely useless. Our midfield is rotten to the core. And I agree with the comments that people have made with regards Berghvall. Berghvall does need someone beside him. And, you know, had you brought in a Douglas Luiz to play there, he could have been the person to speak and to talk Berghvall through games. Because even Kulu's shot, I was talking about not playing Kulu today. Even Kulu's shot. Yet today, what did Kulu do? One cross, the cross for the goal. But apart from that, he was getting knocked off the ball easily. He's running on fumes. He can't get up and down the pitch. You know.
So don't take off Micky Moore. Take off Kinsky. You know what I mean? Like, Ange Postecoglou cannot possibly like lean into that bollocks of an excuse or an explanation. I understand this. I've got empathy for the injury crisis. I do. 100. I always have done. But for the love of God, you're making it worse, Ange, by taking off the only player that Mark Moore was tricky. It was interesting. He flicked the ball. He drew some fouls. Reminded me a little bit of like Maddison when he came central in the first half. And then he's the player that got taken off. What are we doing here? Like if you can't lean into the excuse of these players are shot. If you're leaving the players on that are shot and the players that are fresh get taken off. Yeah. It doesn't add up. It does not add up.
I thought Tell played well today. We saw more of Tell today. Obviously, it was his first game against Liverpool, but we saw more of Tell today. And I thought Tell looks like he can play football. He does.
It's a lovely finish. Lovely, beautiful
finish. But he's into play. He's battling back. He's two-footedness, inside, outside. He's battling qualities. He's got a lot about him.
He's hungry as well. He's hungry. He's got a point to prove, right?
Yeah, today I saw a lot about him. Again, he's one of the youngsters. The old heads we've got in our team are rotten to the core. Are really rotten to the core. And the manager's still picking them. And I'm afraid to say, manager, you keep pricking them. We keep losing games. Something's going to have to give.
Blaine, I'll come back around to you. Shout out. Great take there, Jose. I mean, we've got Man United on what is it now? A week away? 6 days, 7 days? We've got a week recovery. Do you expect Ange to be gone before then? Or do you think he's going to stay?
See if he's not gone in the morning. I'm not watching the United game. I'm being deadly serious. I do not want to watch this manager in our dugout ever again. See, coming back to what you're saying about Berghvall, right? A good coach grabs that player by the bloody scruff of the neck in a throw-in or a break and play and says, "Oi, manage the game." What does he do? Stands hands in the pockets and goes, Come on. If you can't notice that there's no leader in your pitch, you have to fucking stand up and be the leader. It's basics, Sean. It
is basic. Like he maintains, I'm not the sort of guy that gets stuck in. I've been saying this for a long time. I'll choose my words carefully here. If you are someone that has spent 18 months parlaying more about the messages, the message is more important than any match result in isolation. If you get testy with journalists that ask very real questions, if you can't find the time in 18 months to train a plan B, plan C, plan D, and I know he makes tinkerations, that's not even a word, but like tweaks, whatever, to the system, but ultimately it's all predicated on a philosophy that we didn't see on Thursday, and we only saw in the last 10 minutes of the first half and the first 15 of the second tonight. If you can't explain why we're so bad, other than use excuses, when you have always said you're not someone's leaning to excuses, you're not someone that blames the referee, but by the way, the referees are a disgrace, VR's a disgrace. You're not someone that makes excuses, but by the way, here's 4 excuses as to why it's not my fault. You're not someone that wants to get into the nitty-gritty of your future, but by the way, you're also doing everything you can to claw with your fingernails at any rationale as to why that, it doesn't really bother you, all this bollocks. I don't buy a word of it. My dad nailed it the other day. The guy is a shit salesman he can find the right words in the right order at times to talk a good game, but when the rubber meets the road is in match management. And like you say, Blaine, if your hands are in your pockets then what exactly is it that you are paid to do? If you can't in-game manage, if you can't communicate to your team from the sidelines, if the only levels of communication strength that we're supposed to believe is that you have this magical formula for a pre-match pump up before they walk out, and then you see the first 30 minutes of games like today, following the abject 90 minutes that we saw on Thursday, if you can't even be bothered to get out of your office for training games and you record them so you can live stream them like this into your office on a cold February morning, if you don't even bring your coaches with you from wherever you've previously been, and you'll just inherit what you're given, who you then have to disseminate that information to, who then have to disseminate it to 25 players who speak about 12 different languages, I'm sorry, you are not cut out for management. You're not a manager. You're certainly not a coach. You're a philosopher. And in my opinion, the goose is cooked. The game is up. The jig is done. You've been found out a long time ago. I wanted to say it before, but because of the fact that we were still in the cup competitions, I said, you've got to give him the cup, otherwise it's unfair. Now that 2 of those 3 are done, I haven't got another month of patience in me. I'm sorry. I'm not waiting until March to see us get booted out by fucking Galatasaray or whoever we'll get, because that will happen as well if we keep going the way we are. So
Sean,
I'll not.
Can I just jump in quickly, guys? We have got we've got a lot of people's hands in pockets in the chat. We got 729 people in here, and I'm looking at 118 likes. Let's not be like Ange on the sidelines. Let's smash some likes for the people on the panel that are taking their time out to live vicariously through the anger of the chat. Can we?
I appreciate that, Drew. I appreciate that, mate. And whilst we're at it, get over to Eltel Cockerell. And also, my man over here, Blaine Devlin. Everyone will know Blaine. He's an absolute legend of the comment section. He's now making himself, his face more visible on the panel shows. He's also starting his own channel. Super Spurs, is it not, Blaine? Have you got a link for me?
Super Spurs TV. I'm still getting a setup, Sean. Probably give me a week.
Okay.
Give me a week and we'll be up and running.
Those will be there. Eltel, send me your Jose, send me your link. Sorry, I keep calling you Eltel. I don't know, guys. Am I wrong? Am I wrong to be like? I feel like people are going to go, "Where have you been, Sean? We've been Ange out for ages." I've been there with you. I just can't officially announce it until I have these preset requirements. I mean, where are we going?
Just to round off what I was just about to say, I was reading the quote there from his presser after the match, right? I'll not read the whole quote, but he kicks it off by saying, "Europe is still very important for us." Well, fuck me. Read the
whole quote there. If you've got the whole quote there, read it out for us. So I haven't seen it.
2 seconds. So, Europe is still very important to us. We're still in a great spot there. Don't know about that. And we're going to get some players back over the next 2 weeks. We'll get the players back, which will help. We had 11 first-teamers out today. That would take that out of any team. They would struggle. We've been doing that for 2.5 months. So the usual shit. But another thing I don't agree with, the players are going out there and giving everything they can. Did you watch Bentancur today? No, I'm sorry.
That's one thing you got to say, because Bentancur, he's played half the games, right? He's played half the games as everybody else. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, he looked like he was had concrete in his boot. I do not get it with that guy.
The concerning thing for me on that, there was a report that came out earlier in the week about Bentancur and that how the club are viewing him as this real leader in the background, and that, you know, they're pushing him forward and you're just like, okay, being a leader in the background, but being a leader on the pitch is very different. We have literally no single player on that pitch that I would go, yeah, that's the leader. That's the like Sonny is not it in any way, shape, or form. It's just abysmal. I to be honest, like the whole Ange out, Ange in thing, and I'm at a point where I don't really know. I don't really care anymore, because I'm just like, I don't see how this improves if Ange is here or if Ange isn't here, because all I see coming in is Ryan Mason. That's the or dare I say his name out loud, Gareth Southgate. Like, it just panics me so much. Like, who's realistically going to come into this absolute basket case of a club at the moment? Like, who's going to want to come in to a club where the fans are outwardly chanting for the owner to move and go? Like, so that owner that everyone wants gone, you're going to come and work for that owner? Like,
not everybody.
Not everyone. But it's overwhelming. Like, Sean, throughout that game, it was constant from the away fans. It was constant, like the chance. During the halftime.
I'll be interested to see how many people turn up at the Manchester United protest. And I support it, by the way. Very much support it. If you're going to the game and you fundamentally think that Daniel Levy is the problem, I expect to see you there. I will be there. I won't be like participating in any chanting. I'll pop over and say hello. Probably have to wear like a stab-proof vest or something, given the way people feel about me, who defend who feel the way they do. But I support your right to protest. I think it's necessary. I think it's a good thing, by the way. I think it keeps him on his toes. I like to see a chairman uncomfortable. I don't like to think that they can get away with mugging certain sections of the fan base.
Sean,
but
do you think he's uncomfortable?
I still don't believe there'll be a massive. I think that the protest might have 300 people, but it won't be thousands and thousands marching like the YouTube community would have you believe the weight of popular opinion has gone that direction. I just don't see it. The away fans, they travel length and breadth of the country to get tickets to go and see games like Tamford, or what's it called? Not Tamford. What's the place called we went to? Tamworth.
Tamworth.
Sorry, Tamworth. You know, you've got to be in the top 0.01% of points holders, and so those people go to the arse end of Europe to see us, right, to get those points up. So, like, if you're that dedicated to Tottenham, that much of a dedicated fan, then I can understand why you'd be furious. So, I think that the away fans generally are more invested, and it's a bigger proportion of their time and their energy and their money goes towards Tottenham. So I can understand why there's Levy out fans. But when you go to Tottenham Stadium, you've seen it. I've done videos, right? I do walkthroughs of the stadium, indiscriminate. Ask anyone who wants to talk what they think. You don't find that many Levy outers, because I think there's a broader perspective that what he's doing and what he has done is not anywhere near as bad as people would have you believe who frequent YouTube more in the comment sections or on the various channels. But that said, I really hope that the protests go well. I really want everyone to feel like their voice is heard and the pressure is necessary. Sorry, Tom, I interrupted you, mate. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, do you actually think Levy is uncomfortable? Because every time we see him shown on the camera or during a game, he's just sitting there quite nice and chill. I think he was sleeping during the
sleeping
game
like a baby, like an absolute baby.
I genuinely don't think he cares. Like, that's the impression that I just feel coming. I'm sure he does care, but because I don't think there's a human being.
He sleeps very well on his probably £10,000 mattress and whatever that's been bought and paid for by the money that he's paid by fans' contributions. Like, so I don't really give a shit whether he's comfortable or uncomfortable, whether he likes it, whether he's got this thick skin that people propose that he has. I think it's necessary to keep the chairman under pressure. And that's why I absolutely always have and always will support people who protest. I just don't subscribe to the notion that he's as bad as people say he is. I think it's far more likely that you're going to get a worse next chairman than a better one, personally. But either way, it doesn't matter what my opinion is, right? But like, I would just say that right now, he isn't going to go anyway. So we have to think about the here and now. And for me, I think that Ange Postecoglou tonight, I think that if he's still in the job after 2 cup exits in 4 days and after 2 abject tactical, when he did have other options, I know his options are limited, but he had other options. And so, like, if you're taking off more, but you're keeping on Decky, sorry, that's a red flag. Given the fact that he's arguing about in those comments that you made there, Blaine, given the fact that he's saying, oh, we've got 12 injuries, that's enough to decimate any team. He's right. But you know what? We have brilliant potential in our youth. Why not fucking see it? Because the result's the same anyway, right? But then we didn't deserve to be 2-1 in that game. It was not a 2-1 game, right? It was a fucking 6-2 game on proper chances. Sorry, who wanted to come in there?
I just wanted to say to you,
just to be devil's
the BBC interviewer says, out of 2 cup top competitions this week, what does this mean for you all as a team and for the rest of the season? His response was, nothing really changes.
I think that sums up the situation at the club, because the football's been dreadful for months, and the results aren't changing. So if nothing changes, Ange's going to be out of a job, whether we like him or not. I personally like him as an individual. I think some of the things that are said about him, the more offensive and insulting comments that are made by some of the fans online is unnecessary. But he is
personal attacks is not cool. But like he's paid a fuck ton of money, Alex. No,
I agree with you.
To do this job, he should be criticised, and the way that he reacts to tough questions from the media pisses me off. It has done from the very first time I ever saw him. The fact that he can't look a journalist in the eye, right? There's so much about him that rubs me up the wrong way. That I like parts of his character. When he's in a good mood, he's kind of like bipolar, right? Like good mood people when they're bipolar, they're fantastic to be around. But when they're miserable, they're fucking horrid. And I feel like he's someone that's just, he doesn't cope with the stresses. I don't think he's used to it. He's not used to it since his Australia days. And if you hark back to when he was challenged by those journalists about the Australian youth team, you saw exactly the same sort of side to him then that you did, 15 years later? I just think the guy is it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to dismiss things like we're not going to change, nothing changes, and it's all down to injuries. But I'm also not someone that makes excuses. I'm not someone that talks about referees, but also the referees are a disgrace. VAR is a disgrace. I'm not someone to throw a player under the bus, but also Romero shouldn't have done what he did, and also Timo Werner's a fucking joke. Like he needs to work more. Like there's no consistency. I'm going to cherry pick the moments to be like this. I'm above all this like low level shit that the media throw at me. But then when the opportunity is there because the pressure's on, I'm going to harp back onto the things I say I'm never going to do. I'm going to do it on repeat because I don't like the fact that people are challenging my methods when your methods don't add up. All I ever look for is consistency and logic. And if you're telling me as a manager that's on the back of another defeat, 22 defeats in 46 games, by the way, right? 22 defeats in 46. If you're telling me the team are out on their feet, we got 11 injuries. Okay, well then why the fuck are you taking off one player and leaving on another?
But okay, let's talk then practical things. Like who would you suggest? Like for me, Bissouma. Okay, actually wasn't so bad today, but he's been a liability for a long time. He always looks like he's going to give a chance away or a goal like he did against Liverpool in the week. But you have to look at like who's going to come in. Some of the youngsters. We're talking about players making their debuts for most of them, and maybe there's an argument that we sent off on loan, or we could have recalled some of our younger players who are out on loan, the likes of Jamie Donnelly. But we bought Scarlett back.
I'm not even advocating, Alex. I'm not even advocating for that, mate. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying you're taking Mikey Moore has missed 75% of the season because he had a virus. He's back to full fitness, right? There's nothing about his performance in the first half that was any worse. He was better than 8 of the other 10 players that were on the outside on the outfield pitch, and he takes him off. No, rather than the geezer who
I agree with you, but
he's been a sensation this season.
Like if we're gonna. So I mean, for me, I would have brought Son on. I would have brought Son off at half time and brought Dane Scarlett on. And that, I mean, I don't even know if he was on the bench. I presume he was, but I didn't see the.
No, he was cup tied. He wasn't on the bench.
Oh, he's cup tied. Okay, so he couldn't play. Okay, so there's a reason. So again, we're looking at like who's practically who's going to come in. Earlier on in the season, when we had Dorrington, it was clear.
Bring on Ben Davies. Put him at left-sided centre-back, move Berghvall into the 6. Let him sit. Go to a back 3. This notion, by the way, and all Tottenham fans fell for this bollocks. I saw this across the other channels. All Tottenham fans subscribe to this notion. I've been calling for a back 3 for 2 years. We saw it once in the first half against Everton. It didn't work. Ergo, therefore, visa fucking V, the back 3 doesn't work. How about maybe it's because you haven't had any fucking time to train, to practice for it, and maybe you shouldn't let one swallow equal a fucking summer, because you could easily do that again. Pedro Porro at right wing back, Jed Spence at left wing back, Archie Gray, Ben Davies, and bloody Danzo would have done a far better job defending that back line, with Archie Gray given the license to move forward, and the other two tuck into a back 4, Archie Gray pop forward. Okay, it's not rocket science, and it really isn't that fucking difficult to
Who else
head
is in
around the
midfield in that system?
You don't have to write off a fucking tactic that 40% of managers use when they go away to places like Aston Villa because it didn't work once in 45 minutes of football against Everton. It's madness. It's almost like he wants to go, you're all calling for a back three. Well, I'm going to play a back three once. And then it didn't work against the team that you would least likely want to play it against anyway. But because it didn't work there, we're never going to see that again. And then chalk, I was right, the fan base were wrong. And 90% of the fan base sucked it up. They went, yeah, the back three didn't work. Bollocks. Bollocks. A load of bollocks.
Sean, he's never played a back three. And as a manager, he has never played a back three throughout his career. So he's not a manager that can train that system. Now, if you want to talk about a manager that can do both, then that's a completely different story. But just I think currently the players that we have on our books would absolutely 100% suit a back three. Although I've not really seen a manager come to Spurs that has put that into action particularly well. Conte for a period of time, maybe. Poch used to obviously like flip between a back three and a back four and stuff like that. But like, it's not Ange has never used that system. So like, of course he's not going to be able to train it properly. Add to the fact that he's obviously said they're not doing training sessions and stuff like that. It was always going to be a disaster.
Surely there has to be an understanding that right now you can't do a back three, because if you do, you're playing your only fit three centre backs, and if one of those goes tits up, then you've really shit the bucket, and then you've got nobody to rotate those three with. So, sure, there's got to be an understanding, right? Like, that's not just, this isn't like Football Manager. We can't, like, these are actual players with actual stamina issues. Like, what do we do? Like, if we did all right, turn around and say, okay, let's do that. Let's play a back three, and then one or two of those goes down. Then what do we do? Now we're looking at draft. You can't make changes to the squad, I don't think. So it's not like we can draft in any centre backs that we've got out on loan. So we're at the point now where you have to be so conservative.
Yeah,
it's detrimental to the playing style of the squad, right?
That's a problem in itself, though, Drew. That like we are having tactics being dictated by the thought of, what if we get another injury? Like, how bad of a squad do you need to have built? The fact that you're now basing on what you can do, the prerequisition of whether or not we might get another injury. That is just absolutely like mind-boggling that our squad is in a position where that's the biggest worry is what about another injury? What about another injury? Like, it's completely and utterly bad squad management from whoever it is, be it Langer, be it Scott Munn, be it Ange, whoever it is. The fact that we now can't play different systems, or we can't even think about playing different systems based on the fact of, well, if we get another injury, then we're completely and utterly stuffed. Like, it's rotten from the head down at the moment. But at the moment, like, would another manager come in and steady the ship a little bit? Possibly. Is that good for the potential long term? Like, what I'm trying to think past who the managers that we can get in now are not managers that we would particularly want for next season. So do we go, okay, well, let's just get a manager in for 6 months?
18 months. You've got 18 months until you can probably get Poch.
Yeah. So in that instance, what do we do then? Okay, do we say, okay, well, let's get Southgate
you don't stick with Ange for 18 months. You don't stick with Ange.
Will you stop saying that, Tom?
You're guys, another name I seen banded about. Eric Ten Hag is available.
Oh my
God! Oh God!
What are we doing, Sean? What are we doing?
Do you not see that this is a big issue? None of us can come up with a manager that we think is realistic that we could get in now that actually improves us for the long term or for the next 18 months at least.
Question is
Xavi.
Is there anybody on the panel here that, and obviously hypothetical, but is there anybody that thinks if we had a fully fit squad that we could actually turn this around, or that he could actually do something? And let me just give you because I think it's easy to forget that we've had some pretty decent results with this guy, and the bad results, the ones against the obviously, you know, I mean, there was the shit show against Newcastle, but the one earlier this year, like if you go back and look at that game and you look at the stats, if we could have, I know it shoulda, woulda, coulda, but we could have put that to bed in 20, 30 minutes. Like we had 300 more passes than them, much more possession. The game against Arsenal, I think everybody is in agreement that was fucking Romero shit in the bed and just having a fucking bad day. And it was a consequence of just all these little mistakes that we kept on just getting our asses handed to us by small margins. But we've done Everton 4-0. We've done Brentford 3-1. We've done the 4-1 West Ham, the Aston Villa. And the things that are, those things, those games, those big games that we've got in common, Vicario, Porro, Romero, VDV, Udogie.
Yeah, but
that was the
at the
back
same
line.
time, though, Drew, at the same time, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Brighton second half.
I get that, but I think
they had the same players that you just mentioned.
I think the problem we've got, right, I think at least I'm very aware that last year was a shit show because I've gone on record as saying we only had our starting 11 5 or 6 times that entire season. So when it got to the beginning of this season, we're thinking to ourselves, okay, last year we did as well as we could. We got 5th. Let's build on that. Let's get some momentum going. And I think it's not, you can't disagree that at least whatever momentum there was, getting 5th place and getting some players that we didn't want out of the club and getting some youngsters in. I know we are all in agreement that there should have been a couple more players and there should have been a little bit more experience. But I think there was still this optimism that we could actually kind of crack on. And
this squad is not as bad as people want to make it out to be. Fully fit. We got 11 men down. We still can put out a team that I believe, even the team we put out tonight, just on paper, that team, in my opinion, is still better. And it's a second string 11, by the way, full of kids. That string is still better in quality and technique than 11 teams in the Premier League. And our fully fit squad is better on paper, I would argue, in terms of the whole 25, than 14 teams in the Premier League. I think it's comparable to Aston Villa's. I think Aston Villa are on a wave of momentum. They've got some real talent and real technical ability. I'm not knocking them there, but I think that Tottenham is about that sort of standard. Same with Newcastle, right? We're there in terms of fully fit squad, and the squad and the 11 that we can field. It does have depth. It has to have depth because I know we've come up against 2 bad teams or 2 big teams and we lost, and it's been abject. But I put that squarely at the feet of the manager for making the mistakes that he made with regards to rotation earlier on in the season. He didn't pick Jed Spence. That stuff has come back to haunt him. Right? And even now, when he talks about Jed Spence
was injured. Spence got injured about 4 games into the season, and I think he was out for about 2 months. So there was a period when he came back where he maybe could have played him then, but he was still getting up to speed after an injury. I don't want to make excuses. What I do want to say is that when it comes to appealing, we've got the injuries, makeshift back 4. If it was the back 4 that were the biggest problem in our team, I think there's a point to that. But actually, if you look at the problems in our team, it's the midfield and the forwards that are not good enough. I mean, we've got no creativity on the wings. Tell, we don't really know very much about him yet, but he looks like he's got some promise. Micky Moore, obviously, he's had a setback of being injured out for a long time. He looks like he's going to be a good player. But, of the so-called senior players, we're playing our first choice more or less. I mean, Johnson's been the first choice. Maybe Odebear would have, if he hadn't got injured, maybe he would have become the first choice. Werner's the backup. He's probably even third choice now, even if he was fit. Son is clearly the first choice on the left wing. He's been, mediocre for most of the season. Solanke he puts in a shift, and he did start scoring goals more frequently just before he got injured, but he took a while. And again, he's a new player, so you can give him make some allowances for him coming in, and only being here for 6 months. But the first choice players, we don't. Our decision making in the final third is abysmal. And that's whoever starts. Okay, players are getting injured. Johnson's injured.
I think a lot of that, mate. I think a lot of that comes down to the confusion. I think the tactics have confused the players. I think it was obvious when we first saw it. It was new. It was fresh. It caught people unaware. We took advantage. 10 games in, you see the Chelsea game when 50,000 fans applauded the team off the pitch, and Kulusevski says we didn't win, but we won at life. Right? All that stuff. I'm not going to call it nonsense because I was probably one of the 50,000 that stood there and applauded. But since then, it's been if you stand still, you're moving backwards. The world does not wait for you. You have to adapt. And we spent too long doing this. It's who we are, mate. Bollocks. There was no adaptation. There was nothing. And then, I forget which one of you it was. I think it was Blaine who pointed it out. Right, standing there with your hands in your pockets. And again, he ascribes that to that's not who I am. Right, it's not who I am. I'm not someone who's going to bark orders. Well, when is it that you bark? When is it that you give orders? When is it that you do anything? Because as far as I have been made aware, he doesn't go on the training ground very often. He watches the training, so he's disseminated his style to people that he doesn't know, right? Very well. It's not like he has. Someone said it in last night's show. Was it you, Jose? I think it was you, mate. I'll let you come back in, Jose. Who is his number 2? And I know everyone gave the answer, right? Was it? So who was it? Was it you, Drew? I'm not sure who said it, right?
Matt Wells is the number 2.
No, I know he's the number 2, but who the fuck is Matt Wells? With all due respect, he's the grandson of player,
and that's what I said yesterday, Sean. I said, if you look, I Googled all the 6 or 7 coaches we've got, and I Googled them to see what they've done in their careers, and they've done jack shit in coaching. They were average footballers and below average footballers in their time, as the ones that played football, and in their coaching careers, they have done absolutely nada, niente, nothing, and that's what.
Ryan Mason looks like a mum, like a kid who's 8 years old who still sucks on his mother's teeth.
Just out of curiosity, how many how many assistant coaches of any other teams can anybody know? Just out of curiosity, I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but does anyone know Man City's number 2? Anyone know Chelsea's number 2?
Yeah, Paco is number 2 at Man City.
Arsenal's number 2. As I say, I'm not.
Arsenal's number 2 is another Spaniard as well. They're all Spanish. All the best number 2s.
I'm more familiar with Arsenal's set piece coach because he's the one who's lively on the Arsenal sideline, isn't he? Taking all the credit for what he does with the set pieces. Listen, I'm not somebody who I'm not saying it like he's not a name, therefore he's a failure. But I'm saying.
Currently, Iriola is a Spanish coach that's done nothing. I mean, let's be real.
I'm not even on board signing Iriola, mate. I'm not advocating to get. I think
I'm not saying you are, but I know there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that are, and 4 or 5 bottom half finishes with subpar teams don't make you a world class coach, in my opinion. Good. But we'll see. Proof will be in the pudding. I'll be mudded, and he'll be holding the Champions League in 4 years. So
he won't be. You're right. No, he won't be. If he stays at Bournemouth, he won't be, because Bournemouth are going to tail back down. They're just a flash in the pan, right? But. Well, they haven't got the revenue stream generation from things that are outside of player trading to be able to compete at the top level. So that when they get there, they'll knock on the door and then they'll fuck off back down where they came from. Like it always happens. It happens to all of the teams that do this, and everyone is so stuck in the present tense that they analyze what's happening yesterday and today and go, "That's what we need," and that's part of the problem. I think that Tottenham have never been better with Pochettino. I think that Tottenham have quietly gone about picking up a wonderful set of youth talent, and I think that in order to make that harvest into something that's yieldable, you need someone who knows how to get the best out of youth team talent. And I tell you what, as much as I wasn't advocating for Ange's sale when this decision happened, I think on reflection I was a bit of a dum-dum, and I should have been advocating maybe for him to be sacked back in early January. And then Graham Potter might have been the right guy, because Graham Potter has got a hell of a track record at developing youth. What he did at Brighton with the youth players down there was sensational. And given that Tottenham are youth-centric, he would have been someone that would have been a perfect fit for 18 months until America are done with the World Cup. And then you go and get back the prodigal son. You bring him back.
Sean, you want a high points earning manager in the interim? Xavi. I'm just looking at it here. Xavi's record, he's 2.1 points per game.
He's never going to come to Spurs.
But that's that Barcelona.
Why won't he come to Spurs? Why wouldn't he come to Spurs?
Why wouldn't he come to Spurs? Because we're a complete mess.
If you pay him the wage, if you pay him the wage, he'll come. On an 18-month contract, he'll come if you pay him the wage.
Is there nothing to be said for the fact that we've had twice the amount of players out in and out than most other clubs, and that takes time to sort out?
Drew, listen, mate. I was the last remaining advocate for your side of the coin here, mate, and I flipped tonight. So you're on your own, bro. You're on your fucking own, my man.
Well, fucking thank you, Sean. I appreciate that, brother. Honestly, I've been on.
You're a charlatan, Drew. You're a charlatan.
I mean, Drew, going back on what you were saying earlier, in terms of like the thing with Ange's system that I've seen is that the ceiling is very high. Like, it's very, very, very high, but it just doesn't have the. I don't know. It's like being on a bungee cord. 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down. It's just not good.
Will anyone take any target?
The reason why I call Xavi is because Xavi can work with youngsters. He worked at La Masia, so Xavi's come through the ranks to become a manager in his own right. He's got his coaching badges. He started with the young uns and made his way up to the first team. And he went to Saudi Arabia. He's now left. He's a free agent at the moment, and he can work with youngsters. That's the only reason I'm saying Xavi, because like Sean said, if we're going youth-centric, which we are, we can clearly see that, then you need somebody to come in that's going to work with what we've got and work with youngsters. And Xavi is someone who's very blessed at doing that. And that's the only reason why I'm saying it. Why would he come? It's because he can work with youngsters. Give him an 18-month contract, and then if you want Poch in after that, bring Poch in after that. But he's someone.
Yeah, I don't know how much it'll cost. But let me point. Like, listen, I think the next manager is going to have to be, unless that Daniel Levy can, because he really does have elephant skin, right? And he doesn't give a fuck. If that's the case, and like I say, he might sleep on a bed of roses for all I know. But if that's the case, Ben, I'm going to come to you, right? If it's not someone that's a project manager, that if Ange's failed and we go again, and by the way, like I say, I'm all for it now. I really am. And I'll be patient with the next guy. I will, but I have to see more than what I've seen from Ange. I was patient with Ange, but I have to see more, and I just don't on board it. But if you don't go with the project manager that you get in cheap, given that we have all this wiggle room in FFP and PSR and the 46%, all this ratio stuff that I talk about all the time on Sean Butler TV, by the way, get over there and hit the subscribe button. If you do have enough wiggle room to go and blow a lot of cash on a manager that you want, and if you can't convince them on the pitch of the job, most men can be persuaded by earning 3 to 4 times more money than what Conte was, Mourinho was. If Tottenham were to go down that path, would you go and spunk it on because you'd need a lot of money to convince Xavi to come in, right? But I think there's someone else that you might be able to go and convince. I don't know why he would leave other than to get a 3 or 4 times ROI on his current salary. Could Eddie Howe be convinced, Blaine?
I don't think we can get high. Do you know another name, Sean, actually, that'd be interesting? I actually want to throw this out to the panel and see your opinions. We've been talking about getting Paratici back in the summer. Why not let him cook with Allegri?
He's a difficult guy. He's a difficult man, that one.
He's a difficult man, but he's a winner.
He's a difficult
winner, Sean. That's the thing.
Yeah, but is he? Is Allegri known for? I don't know that much about his. I don't follow Serie A that much, so I'm not a fan of the league. So I don't really know whether he's. Maybe someone here can fill us in. Is Allegri a guy that develops youth? I'm not sure he is. Is he or is he? I don't know. Let me know.
No, he's not. He's not. To be fair,
he's another quintessential checkbook manager. He's basically Conte Mark II. Like, you'd literally just be going back to what you already had, but a slightly nicer person. Like, that's basically where you're going with that. We could obviously slap the money in front of anyone to get him to come, but then are we not just going back to, like, the whole time that we had Conte? It just felt like he just had the attitude of, I'm doing you guys a favor. I'm doing you guys a favor. I'm doing you guys a favor. And it's like, is that what we really want again? Like, because it was that without any success.
No, I want the top draw of someone that can see Tottenham as a. You know who I want? I want Pochettino back. I want Poch back. I really do. But you You cannot convince the guy to drop the USA team. USA are about to have their moment in the sun, right? All the time, all the way back. 94 was the last time they had it. The World Cup, it's not just theirs, it's obviously Mexico's and Canada's as well. But like it's like he's been given the red carpet over there, and he's never going to leave. And I don't think. I mean, maybe he would leave before. Maybe he cares that much about Tottenham that if Daniel Levy did go to the American Board of Football, whatever it's called, the USMNT, and say, how much is it going to cost to get him out, and we'll pay you compensation. But for me, I still think that you're a couple of years too early, maybe 18 months too early. For the guy before the guy that I've said 1,000 times. I also said the reason why I don't want to sack Ange is because I think that the next project I'm not ready for it yet because the squad aren't ready for it yet. But in a year and a half, 18 months time, these 18, 19, 20 roles that we've been acquiring and the talent we have. I don't know if anyone saw the video I did earlier, right? The upload. I was out with Bugsy. Like I've got a list here. I mean, let me see if I can. Where is it? This is just some of them. Scarlett, Kaya Nathan, Soonsop Bell, Lancashire, William Bartlett, the guy who's 16 and scored an absolute banging hat-trick. Has anyone seen the hat-trick he scored for the under-18s yesterday? Sensational. Tyrese Hall, Mikey Moore, Voskovic, Donnelly, Pape Sarr, Berghvall, Archie Gray, Jed Spence, Van der Ven, Porro. Right, these guys are 23 or under. 20. Most of them are 21 or under. Most of them are teenagers. We've got such an unbelievable youth, but how good are they going to be in 18 months? I want Pochettino to come back and then grab hold of a little bit maturer squad and then take us back to 2016, 17 and let us build up to the 2019, what happened in 2019. So by 2028, 29 in our lifetime, in the present tense, we could be absolutely banging. But I'm just not sure that Pochettino coming back now, I think it's a little bit too early for the maturity of the people we've acquired. So I want someone possibly to come in for the next 18 months. I don't think Allegri, Blaine, with all due respect, is the answer. He's not going to satisfy the fans. And that's why I think maybe we missed the trick.
But Sean,
possibly without Graham Potter. I think Graham Potter would have been a good stepping stone. But
what is more important at the minute, right? You're saying about satisfying the fans. That's great, fantastic. Puts bums in seats, sells merchandise, sells pints in the match day. But does it give you results?
But I'm far. Results in what? In terms of lifting a trophy? I'm sorry. The 3 trophies that we have to win. I know Plymouth beat Liverpool today, right? And I know that Man United beat Arsenal. And you know what? It's such a fucking shame because I genuinely see now City, United, or Villa lifting that trophy. Yeah. Right, but generally speaking, I just think that in any given season, it's still going to be, in all likelihood, apart from maybe Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, it's still going to be the status quo for the next couple of years. So I don't like trophy success. I think that Tottenham are so far from it.
I'm not even advocating trophy success. I'm just saying a period of stability after what we've had now. We're 14th in the league out of 2 cups.
Yeah, but we'll be fine. Right? Stability in what way? Like we're not going down. We're not going to go down. If we are, I'll eat my hat. But
right,
we're not
unless we win the Europa.
We're not going to get the Champions League anytime soon, are we?
We're not getting European football next season, so our revenues are down again. Where we finish in the Premier League, unless we get into the top 10, our revenues are down again. Right. So sustainability wise, that then blunts you in the summer.
We've got 150 million quid to spend in the summer. I've already crunched the numbers. If we don't drop 150, we do spend it. Like this argument that we don't spend is madness. We've got 170 million quid. Right? I've looked at the numbers. This summer we can go big. We should have gone bigger in January. We should have gone bigger in the summer. I understand everyone and I subscribe because those numbers haven't changed. But we have got the budget, regardless of the European football or otherwise, to push the numbers, right? We can have a budget of that big without touching FFP, PSR, or any of that shit. And the fact that we're not in Europe, funnily enough, actually helps us because it's the teams in Europe that have to abide by the 70% threshold. The teams that are outside of it don't have to. So given that we have all of this we have all this maneuverability, and given the fact that the PFA and Manchester City are suing the Premier League, there's every chance that there's going to be another pivot away from this anchoring rule, right, which is going to limit people to 5 times the lowest team, and the lowest team that's coming up could be you know, it's going to be a team that's going to have probably like an £80 million revenue. Therefore, you might be limited to £450 million of squad cost ratios. But that's all in the courts right now. So as it is, all of the plans to make the rules tighter are probably up in the air. And even though I'm an advocate for tightening, it actually suits Tottenham in the summer if Daniel Levy pulls his checkbook out to actually get ahead of that, which is why Manchester City have done what they've done. Which is one of the reasons why City have done what they've done, right? They spent 200 million quid in January because they don't know whether their future's in the Premier League or otherwise because of the 115 charges. But on top of that, they also don't know what's going to happen with the anchoring rule. If the anchoring rule comes in, City can't spend anything like what they can now. Anyway, that's another topic. But for me, I want to get everyone's take. Sorry, I'm talking too much. I'm fucking wound up tonight. Really wound up. And people saying that Stelios
Sean,
on me. You can expect a fucking response on this one. I promise you. I don't know what he's saying, but I'm going to fucking annihilate the cunt. I promise you that. Shouldn't have said that word. They shouldn't have said that word. Never mind.
Sean, do you think that Postecoglou, just really quickly, you think Postecoglou has been given what he needs? Yes or no? No. Okay. Can I read something to you?
Please.
Right. Postecoglou might not be the guy for you. If you're an Ange out or you have any doubt, or if you're Levy out or have Levy doubt or anything else, you might see the cracks in his system. You might see the fact that we started well but finished poorly, and on the tail end of 4 or 5 losses on the bounce, say this guy's been found out at this level. He himself has already said that maybe the Premier League is a step too far, but he has massive belief in himself and his abilities, and I believe in people that believe in themselves. Always have until there's reason to know categorically that they're not on the level. And I don't think we know that yet because he hasn't been given the players that he needs. That was you. You did 8 months ago. On a video that says why Tottenham fans have to trust the process.
Sean, you've got your number one fan there. Drew's your number one fan, mate. Go on, look at that.
How have you got that written down?
He's your number one fan.
Drew, where have you got that written down? You're absolutely
I just went and found the video and then read the transcript. But yeah.
read it out again. Read it out again.
Okay. Hang on. Right. Postecoglou might not be the guy for you. And if you're an Ange out or you have doubt, or if you're Levy out or have Levy doubt or anything else, you might see the cracks in his system. You might see the fact that we start well, but we finish poorly. And on the tail end of 4 on the bounce and say, this guy's been found out. At this level, he himself has already said maybe the Premier League is a step too far. He has massive belief in himself and his abilities, and I believe in people that believe in themselves. I always have, until there's a reason to know categorically that they're not of the level. And I don't think we know that.
Why are you capitalizing categorically? I didn't say it like that. I just said categorically. No. You're looking at the transcript. You're a fraud, bro. You're looking at the transcript. Every word I said is spot on. I'm spot on the fucking money. Bang on the fucking money. You absolute fucking... You're fraudulent little shit.
The point of this kind of op-ed is that you have to give him what he needs within what we can do this summer. That won't include world-class players in all likelihood. I'd be amazed if it did, because there's too much work to do and too few pounds to do it with. So he's going to be working within his means. Do I need to go on?
Was I wrong?
No, you're not
wrong.
No, you weren't wrong.
I was spot on, right? I was spot on. There you go. Thank you very much, mate. What you tried to do was humiliate me. What you've actually done is elevate me to a fucking the level of an absolute question master.
Drew, you need to send some more Sean's way. Sean can make the book.
Oh,
You bastard. You bastard.
Son of a bitch. Love you, buddy. I
Love you
got
too,
to hop
mate.
off.
Love
I got to go to
Yeah,
another show.
Sean, me and Drew got to hop off because we're on
Love you,
another show. But thanks
Cheers,
very much.
boys. Man, take care. We won't be going much longer.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks for coming on.
See you guys.
Yeah, after that bombshell, I don't know where to go. Drew's just absolutely
Hoisted by your own petard. Well and truly.
I stand by what I said then. I think everything I said was pretty much bang on the money. But listen, at the same time, I do believe in people that believe in themselves until there's a reason to otherwise. And I think that recently I've seen reason to believe otherwise. I think that my dad was right when he reminded me, or he informed me that his opinion, and I trust my dad. My dad's like, he's a salesman as well. He's like, the guy's a salesman, and I think my dad's spot on that one. I think that he's got the right words in the right order to make excuses and dress them up as explanations. And I think that he likes to dance around half truths and bake in these realities that they don't have to be the way they are. And I think tonight is another example, right? Like he leans into the injuries, but then he makes decisions that don't support that under fair due diligence. I mean, Jose, am I wrong? Like, is Ange right in what he's saying? Like, is it a legit? I mean, Drew asked a question a while ago, right? Like, if you have the full strength team back, do we lose to Villa? Do we lose to Liverpool? Are we 15th in the league? Where are we in the league with a full? No team goes through the season without injuries, but where are we with an 80% fully fit squad since November? Where are we with that rather than a 30% fully fit squad?
For me, I think that we're still not in the top 8 because our midfield, apart from Maddison, is the only one that's really injured out of our midfield. Our midfield is just shockingly poor, and therefore, we can't win games. The old saying used to be, you win your games in the midfield. And we just haven't got a midfield to go and win games from. So, most of our injuries have been up front or have been in defence. I haven't seen that many in midfield compared to the other two areas of work. And to me, if you've got too many people off it, doesn't matter what players you've got coming back in. If they're not playing well and they're off it as well, you're not going to be much better than what you are now. The only people I've given a chance to are the bloody kids, and that's not happening.
How about you, Blaine?
I agree. I personally, I don't see us above 10th. No, what I would say is you might have enough to have got through against Villa tonight. I didn't think, by the way, the Villa were unbelievable, fantastically amazing. I mean, they were missing Ollie Watkins tonight, so they didn't have, the Donny Mallon starting his first game. I think with a bit of better nous, better tactical play, we might have scraped through. A little bit more resilience at the back, a little bit more resilience in midfield, and actually playing the right players. I keep coming back to this, and I keep coming back to it in your chat. Play players in round holes, not fucking square pegs. I mean, come on. The guy doesn't trust Regulian. I don't understand why. Okay, he's not a world beater, but he's a half-decent left-back. And yet, you stick Jed Spence as the right footer in the left-back.
There you go. Perfect point. Let me ask this: ones and zeros, right?
His defending is dreadful. Regular's defending is abysmal.
I disagree with that. To be honest, I think it's not that different to Udogie's. I don't think he's necessarily the best fullback in the world, but I don't think he's anything like a player that should be just like ostracized from the team. Ones and zeros in the chat, and welcome into the show. Brian and Eugene, hope you see you guys. We'll get your takes in a second. Ones and zeros. Ange in, Ange out. Ange in 1, Ange out 0. Simple as. Let me know. Eugene, whilst we're getting those comment sections, smash the like, people. By the way, smash the like. If you haven't smashed the like, there's been about 700 people here or something like that for the longest time. 600 people, whatever. Smash the likes because I'm sure the numbers could be better. Eugene, what's your take, mate? Thank you for waiting for. So you weren't waiting long, but you come in. What's your take on the show and not the show? Sorry, on the show. What was on tonight? On the game.
The show is great. The game, not so much. By the way, thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys, Blaine, Jose, everybody in the chat. Yeah, honestly, there's a meltdown. Even though everybody expected us to lose, I thought we'll actually win, given that Villa isn't great, but the difference in quality is clear. Morgan Rogers, compare him to who we have in the midfield, it's night and day. Yeah, Ange's tactics, we can all talk about it, but I've been saying it again and again. The quality that we have, especially in the midfield and in the front three, is just not good enough. The midfield, non-existent again. And Sonny is. It's very sad for me to see Sonny play the way that he does. I don't want to remember him like that. So we're just toothless up front. The midfield is not good enough. So I don't feel like different tactics would make a huge difference. That's not saying that I'm Anjin. Anjin's definitely, he's not the guy.
No one's Anjin. There's one person who's Anjin, Eugene. There's Gary Bex is Anjin. Everybody else that's watching, every single other person that's commented here, there's shitbutt. Everybody else, zeros. There's absolutely nobody right now that has any patience for this any longer.
Yeah, but again, like I was Anjin until the Leicester game. Now it doesn't matter. I don't care. Get him out. It's just we don't have a plan. We should have sacked him in December before the transfer window, if that's the case. But again, if you look at the big teams at Liverpool, even Villa, the quality that they have versus what we have is night and day. Bissouma, Sarr, even Bentancur, they're just not good enough. Son, just it's very sad to see. So somebody else comes in.
You know what, Eugene? Until like a month ago, I was of the opinion that Tottenham only needed like sprinkle in a bit of experience, get rid of some of the oldies, bring in some better oldies with a bit of desire that can, as the boys, as Alexander was saying, Blaine was saying, Jose was saying earlier, support the likes of Berghvall, however you say it, and just shepherd this team through its youth-centric model. But now, after the last few games, I look at Bentancur and go, bro, you've been out of half the season, 8 games of which were your own fault, right? You're not tired. You're not tired. And you just there's like an abscondment, like it's a dereliction of duty sometimes, that defensive side. And you're supposed to be an 8, but the 8s require defensive resolution. And this notion that we don't have a 6, I don't know if Archie Gray is going to be the monster 6. I want something else. I want someone. I love Archie Gray. I really do. I really do love him. But I'm not sure that I've seen from his performances as a centre back. I don't remember him like being a monster in any tackles. I don't think he's a monster in the air. I don't think he's a monster. I want someone that is just like a John McGinn, but in the 6 format. Yeah. Just someone that's just a beast. And I just don't see it necessarily in him. So I don't necessarily see him as the 6. But I'd like to have seen him at least play in the 6 once or twice. But Douglas Luiz was the guy we needed, right? And we didn't get him.
Exactly. I was hoping we'd get him. He'd be a perfect 6 for Ange. As far as Archie Gray, I mean, he's too young for a 6. You don't see any 18-year-olds play at a 6. You need to be 25, 26, 27. You need to be a man. Archie Gray, he has the potential. He's not there yet. He can be a starter for us. But on the other hand, I do want to see him at the 6. And like I've been saying it again for a while, but at least with Archie Gray, with Berghvall, I see the bravery from them. Our senior players are hiding. Again, today, Bentancur, Bissouma, they're not on it. I don't see the bravery. I don't see them trying to do something. They're passengers. We need some bus drivers. We need some leaders, and it seems like every other player is just a passenger. They just go with the flow. And Sonny, unfortunately, is it as well.
I completely agree, mate. Completely agree. Someone in the private chat just reminded me that there were super chats. Sorry, I've been so caught up in being angry tonight that I forgot to check these out, apart from Crocodox earlier. I'll come to you in a second, Brian. Also, I'm going to come to say goodbye to and give last words to Alex. He's got to drop. Just before I do, boys, if you can hang around for a split second. TJ Stancliffe with a super chat. I live 3,500 miles away from Tottenham. Jeez, I buy the kits. I wake up early before work to watch every game. So you must be east of us. No, you're west of us. Game live and sing the songs from my couch. Loving this club is a brutal curse. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, TJ, welcome to the family. I don't know what else to say, bro. You picked the team. I'd love to know why. Let me know if you're still watching this, and I apologize for you sending this in a long time ago. Let me know why you picked Tottenham. If you've always lived 3,500 miles away, then you probably don't have a natural connection to the club. So let me know. Was it the fact that if you're in America, was it the fact that you saw Tottenham on concert or an NFL game or something. Let me know why. But yeah, man, this is the shit we go through at Tottenham. It's painful. It's painful, but it is what it is. We you know, you can't pick your parents. Sometimes you can't pick your football club either. You know, that's the way it goes. Moondog saying we have gone backwards, and that's a fact for sure. We have. Yeah, the last 5 years has been a 100% a backward trajectory for sure. And I understand why everyone's frustrated with that. And I also 100% apparently Stelios is saying that and I can't wait to watch this after the show, because if he has the audacity to suggest that I am a stumbling block towards the movement, then I'm going to just roll out like 100 examples of me saying, I support you. Do your thing.
Don't do it. He's a troll.
No, fuck it, mate. The geezer's an absolute toxic piece of shit, and I cannot wait to bury that fucking arsehole. Can't wait to it. Can't wait to do it. Posta No Clue from Roy is saying, must go. Bring Redknapp in for the rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Jake. He's about 78 now, isn't he? I don't know if he's. I haven't seen him for ages. I haven't seen him for a long time, so I don't know if he's still got his fundamentals, Roy. But listen, it was good times under Harry Redknapp. He was the catalyst for a lot of what we had in the following years. I'll tell you what, Brian, if you wait there for 2 seconds, Alex, you've got to go, right? So I'll give you last say before you pop off. What do you want to see happen, mate? What's next for you as a Tottenham fan? What do you want to see? How do you want to leave the show before the next time you come back on?
So, okay, in that case, 3 things. One, I didn't say this earlier, but it's great that you're back online. Really missed Spurs Talk Show, so it's a nice that you're back up and running. And second thing, as regards the disagreement with the guy on the other channel, I don't know anybody who's Levy out in real life. The only time I hear it is when I was in the South Stand a few weeks ago. When I've sat in the West Stand, I don't know if it's changed. My brother-in-law said it's got a bit louder, but in the West Stand, nobody's really chanting that.
West Stand don't really chant for anything though. They kind of very quiet.
I mean, that's a fair thing. It is the smoked salmon stand. It's true. And in terms of the team, I just think I'm scratching my head because I don't think there's an easy option, whichever direction the board chooses to go in. I think, the Ange limping along for the rest of the season, what that can bring, we've got no idea. Good or bad. And realistically, who could we get? So, we just saw the suggestion, someone like Harry Redknapp. If we're looking at that as our alternative, then, or is it going to be Ryan Mason again? I don't think Ryan.
I think it makes much difference right now, to be honest. Ryan Mason actually has a really good points per game average for what it's worth.
He does. So, I mean, I don't think he'd necessarily be the worst option on a short-term basis, but I don't think he'd be much of an improvement. I don't think whoever could come in the short term is going to dramatically turn the team around, because I think fundamentally we've got a lot. You can take someone like Bissouma. He's played under how many different managers, and he's had a dozen good games in 3 years.
Yeah.
So
you can't
I don't see who else.
Can't bring in Mason again.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to have to go.
I'll bring you in, but yeah, Alex, thank you for the support, mate. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Great to see you, mate. Have a good evening.
Guys.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Brian, mate, good to see you, boss. How you been?
Hi, Sean. Well, good to see you back.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Go on, get it off your chest. You can feel free to swear. Just don't say the C word, even though I've already said it once. It is what it is. That was reserved for a special occasion.
I'm not buying these tired players anymore stuff, because I mean, there was 3 players that have been overplayed in the Liverpool game. It was a 3 or 4, and 3 or 4 again today. And you have 3 new signings. You have some of these young lads that come in were actually better than some of the players that were playing earlier in the season anyway. Like Berghvall's been better. Spence has been better. Micky Moore has been better. Well, he certainly has better moments than Werner. And, sure. So, like, I'm not. I think he's run out of excuses, and he doesn't have a leg to stand on anymore. Really, like, I've never seen it this bad. Like, Conte should have never got the job because he wasn't the right fit, and he wasn't going to be backed the way he needed to be to win trophies. But he was fourth in the table when he was sacked. He was fourth. This guy is 14th, and out of the cups. And look, I think it's time that we have to bring in Terzic maybe, or somebody who has a little bit of excitement around him until we can go and get Pochettino back, because there's nobody that can do this job better than him.
Yeah, I agree. Love to get him back, but I just think it's going to be a really, really tall order, Brian, to get him back. The red carpet's been rolled out. America have thrown so much into their World Cup next year. Right.
No, I mean, in 18 months' time after the World Cup. 18
months, right? Yeah. So, but how do we get through the next 18 months then? Do you
bring him
now and then give someone a 2-year contract?
Bring in Terzic or somebody who's young and has a bit of excitement around them, that's kind of proven at the top level. You know, like if
is anyone going to join Tottenham on a 2-year contract?
Well, he's available. That's why I'm going for him. Like, I'd like Areola.
I like Terzic. I like Terzic as well. I think Terzic is but Terzic is a feisty geezer who wants control. He wants control of, the reason why a lot of the board pushed him out at Dortmund was because he was ex-director of football or whatever, the chief director of football or whatever it was, football directorship or whatever. And he pissed off a lot of the established players, right? And the young players loved him, but the older players didn't. But he also, he wanted his say, he wanted his overarching control. We've already got too many cooks spoil the broth with Scott Munn, with Paratici hanging around, with Johan Lang, with Daniel Levy not capable of taking his hands off of the reins. And then you're going to throw in another guy in Terzic who also will want to have his way, who wants to be a little bit of everything. I just, as much as I respect the leader, I just don't know if he's the right guy now.
If he's coming in, he's coming in probably on a short-term deal anyway. So,
can you sell the idea? Come to Tottenham in the shit show that we're in right now.
Yeah, if you do a good job, you can get longer.
Build. You're only here for a little time, and if I'm entirely honest, the argument is that we're going to hire you to go through the shit show of getting us more prepared for the next guy to come over and take the reins. All these people have got egos, but
it's also a trial run. If he does an amazing job, he's going to get the job anyway. So
yeah, good point. Good point. Good point.
Like Areola is the man if you can get him, because he's doing it in the Premier League, and he's, but you can't get him now, can you? Right. Yeah.
Now. No. Well. Yeah. I don't know if he is the right guy anyway. To be honest, I've said this 1,000 times. Like he's a shining light of an otherwise season of managers that are stepping up. But as Drew has pointed out 1,000 times, Geezer's only had one good 9 months. The rest of his track record is pretty average. In fact, speaking of Drew, just quickly, sorry, Tim. Sorry, Brian. 1 second. Drew's just come back in. He left the show, but he's left with a mic drop about me, bringing up things I said a year ago, which on reflection I think I still stand by. And he's also dropped 5 gift memberships to you lot. So I don't know who's got it. I think Nate the Ape's got one. I'm going to be bringing back the fan show.
Nita, Destiny 5, Nate the Ape, Alan Sibley, and Parker.
There you go. So make sure you say thank you to Drew. Very cool of you, Drew, mate, and also always lovely to have you, man. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Brian, sorry I interrupted you. That's very nice.
The next 8 fixtures that Bournemouth have, I don't know. I was looking at them the last day to do with my fantasy football team or something. But his fixtures in the next 8 fixtures for Bournemouth are extremely good fixtures as well. So he could actually end up vying for Champions League with this Bournemouth team. I look. We're all throwing names in the hat at this point. Like, we're not the guys making the decisions and looking.
I wish sometimes we were the guys making the decision. Yeah. This argument to go to a 51% ownership model like they have in Germany, I feel like it makes more sense. Although, actually, having said that, I think there's a lot of absolute fucking donuts in the Tottenham fan base. The sort of people that go on to Tottenham away, and 8 of them on a panel show, chaperoned by dickhead Stelios Tritios, who turns around and says, is relegation good for our cause? Is winning a trophy bad for our cause? Should we be celebrating? There's this waffle that comes out of some people's mouths.
You can't listen to that. That's just fucking ridiculous. Like,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So maybe the ownership model is okay how it is. Matt, I want to bring you in, mate. Debut on the show, I think, Matt. Unless you've been on before, is it your first time?
Yeah, on here. Yeah. I know Johnny and people like that. So, but yeah, I've sort of had a bit of a break from everything. Yeah, Johnny's part of the furniture.
Nice to meet you. How's
nice to meet you too, mate.
How you feeling? How you feeling? I've seen sick and tired, right? You're pissed off. Speak, man. Speak. Go for it. Say what you want to say.
Just numb to the whole thing, sort of, to be honest. And I say I don't want to, get angry and things like that, but you end up, being sucked back in. It's just every fan who, supports football and has that, love for their club, understands. Yeah, I've been trying to back the manager. I'll be perfectly honest. I have been, but definitely the last month, I really have started to turn. I'm getting sick and tired, to be honest, of seeing the same goals conceded every week. Similar sort of setup. Yeah, it's not only that, Sean. It's also like, for a man that says he, won't change the way he plays football. Well, the last few weeks I've seen him completely change, his style. I mean, what the hell happened, against Liverpool? He threw his principles out the window. Now, for me,
does that mean he's lost the players, Matt?
Do you know what? It certainly looked, a few of them, like they were, they're on their knees.
Reshape that question, Brian, because I see what you're doing there. It doesn't directly mean, by changing your tactics doesn't mean you lost the players.
No, but did he change the tactics?
By throwing your players out there with a formation that you're asking them to play that you haven't trained for, is a stepping stone towards them going, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go? No. You saw it in the moment. Sorry to interrupt, Matt. I'll come back.
No problem, mate.
But when Matisse Tell came on the pitch, right, in 90 seconds of him being on the pitch, he's pressing against Liverpool and then turning around, berating Decky and Sonny primarily. I think it was Decky on the pitch. Maybe it was someone else. But going, come on, step up. And they weren't stepping up.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lack of communication there from Ange or from Ryan Mason or his buddy Matty Wells, going, well, has Matisse Tell had the instruction from Ange or one of the others to press? And if so, then why wasn't that communicated to the others? Because the only thing worse than nobody pressing
is one person pressing. Yeah.
One or two or five people pressing, because you just get carved through like Manchester United were under Ten Hag.
But he said, I didn't put them out to play like that. That's what I'm saying.
No, I hear you, but there's a miscommunication. If Matisse Tell is doing one thing and he's turning around after 90 seconds in a Tottenham shirt, evening Pete, berating Sonny, the captain of the fucking team, and Sonny's not fucking pressing, there's a miscommunication there. That has to go back to the guy who sets them up.
He's just arrived, Matty Tell. The rest of them probably don't believe in it anymore. That's my point.
Oh, so you weren't saying it. I thought you were saying it sarcastically, because I've been questioned. I'm sorry, I thought you. Okay, so therefore, carry on with your question. Carry on with the answer. Is it a sign? Is the communication? Is the lack of constructive the pivot away from his dying on the hill? Is that a demonstration of losing the dressing room, Matt? Is what the question was from Brian.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it potentially could be. I mean, we know what players can be like. Maybe they've all got together and said, you know what, we're just going to not do as he told us tonight, and we're going to try our own. It worked against Brentford. We might sit in a bit deeper and try and frustrate Liverpool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, even tonight, they didn't really look like a plan. To be honest, I'm getting a bit bored of these injury excuses as well. I mean, let's look at Aston Villa tonight. I think they had eight injuries tonight. They played two midfielders and centre back when Konza went off. And we're like David. Yeah. But we just don't even look like we can score goals as much anymore. I don't see Ange ball anymore. I don't see us being able to, properly defend. I mean, if you go back to the first goal, I mean, look at Pedro Porro's positioning. Why is he so high up the pitch? That's got to be an instruction from the manager. It's brain dead. It's suicidal football, and we have, without Van der Ven or without that pace at the back, we just can't defend with it. You know.
I don't disagree, mate.
Yeah. Can it be just as simple as all the players on the pitch have to play twice a week for the past couple of months, including the youngsters? They just don't have it. They don't have the energy. Villa was rested. Again, I'm not making excuses. The players are shocking, and I want the Muslim gone. But if you look at the players playing, we've been playing twice a week for a few months with the same squad. Gray, Berghvall, Sonny, Porro. I think they're just physically and mentally done.
I think there's times probably where he could have rotated a bit more. In my personal, opinion, I mean, it took us getting so many injuries for him to play these young kids. Now, whether he would have off his own bat with all the others being fit, I'm not so sure. So then, are you going? Is he a manager who does play youth, or are they all going to be sat back on the bench again when all the senior players are back? I'm not sure.
That's fair. Yep.
But it could be caused by the amount of they were training very hard before the injury started to happen. Obviously, of late they've not been training so much, but I think he has to take responsibility for some of the injuries because it happened last year as well, and he wasn't rotating, as you say. Those some of these young lads are better than the guys that were playing anyway, like Berghvall, Spence, Micky Moore. These guys are better.
I mean, both things are true, right? He has to take responsibility for injuries, but then at the same time, the players who are playing, they just don't have anything left in the tank. So both things are true.
It's never black or white, right? It's always a shade of grey. There's always if it wasn't a shade of grey, if it was 100% unilaterally unipolar blame game, and that one person is responsible for everything that happens, then there'd be no debate. And the decision would have been made a long time ago. So there's always going to be excuses or explanations. There's always going to be shades of grey. But how everyone feels about it obviously leans into your own personal stance. Pete, welcome to the show, mate. It's been a long time, buddy. I missed you, my man. I hope you're okay. Good to see you. Say what you want to say. I know you've been an advocate from about game 12 of Ange Postecoglou, where you went, that's enough for me. I've seen all I need to see. And you probably were right the whole time. You there?
When he when he put 9 men on the halfway line against Chelsea, that was me.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, mate. Pete, I don't know. I can't. Yeah, not really, mate. Not really, buddy. I think your reception's dropping in and out. I can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear what you're saying. So, do you want to just drop out for a second and then come back in, and I'll come straight back to you. Thanks, mate.
People would love that. Yeah.
Just quickly before he comes back in, I'll just pop up to Blaine or Jose. Anything you got to say on what Matt's takes are? Because I think Matt's spot on, to be honest.
I think what Matt said is basically what a lot of us have said earlier on the panel in one way, shape, or form. At the end of the day, I think what it is today. I think this started. It's been rumbling and it's been rolling along, and it's this ball that's been let. It's running. It's gaining speed and momentum down the hill, right? And we have got to today's game. And after today's game, even you've come out, Sean, as well. So we've got to today's game, and it's been, it's where we are now.
I've been waiting for the right time. Been waiting for the right. I couldn't what's the phrase? Abscond, I guess, from my. I don't really trust the geezer, but at the end of the day, we're in the semi-final of one cup, fourth round of another, and we're in the last 16 of the Carabao of the Europa League. You can't sack a guy for doing a bad job in the Premier League when we were never going to win that anyway. Let's see how we go. But I wouldn't even mind if it was we put in good shifts against Liverpool, and we were doing a little bit better in the league, and also we had a good shift tonight. But ultimately, the first 30 minutes, I was like, it's the first 30 sets the precedent. It sets the tempo for the game. The entire 90 against Liverpool. And then obviously, I just don't think that, I don't think it makes a blind bit of difference. If we get past whoever we get in the Europa League, right? I'll come back to Pete here. Whoever we get, Pete, I hope your audio is better. Whoever we get in the Europa League, I don't think Ange will be the difference between us passing or failing that test. If we get a decent team, then I fear for us. And I think that Ryan Mason could do just as good or bad a job as he will. And if we get an easy team, then I think Ryan Mason or whoever will do just as good or bad a job of getting us through that as Ange Postecoglou would. So I don't think it matters anymore. Like you're out. Like, these two games were the litmus test for me, and the performance. It wasn't the outcome; it was the performance that was just like I can't defend.
The only thing that was holding him on was that he was in so many things, but now he's out of two of them, and you're looking at the last one and you're going, "Do you really trust this guy to win a big match, a big semi-final, and a big final?" No, you don't. Well, I don't anyway.
Yeah, you get your piece of paper out and you just say Tottenham 15th in the Premiership, and that's it. You don't have to say anything more. Forget about the Europa League is a side hustle that comes in 4 weeks' time. We're not in the other two cups now. We're 15th in the league, and that's the way it should be viewed and seen. Forget about it. It's a side hustle, the Europa League now.
I want to give a different perspective, right? We as fans obviously are making our opinions based on what we see. So what the fuck is Daniel Levy saying? What is he selling to Daniel Levy to make him believe in the project?
Salesman, mate. Salesman. He's a salesman. No. He sold Matisse Tell, right? Pete, I'll bring you in, mate. Pete, where you at, buddy? Where you at?
I'm at where I've always been at, mate. This guy should have been gone a long time ago. It's just nothing new surprises me. I'm surprised it took this long, really. It's a shame, but we are where we are. I think the writing's been on the wall for a long time. I think.
Where do you go from here, though, Pete?
I'd like us to be a big club and go for the manager that we want and get him in so he can have the rest of the season with the team and then make his plans for the summer. I'm not really interested in Mason.
Who's that? Who's that in your opinion? Just out of curiosity.
My top pick is Silva from Fulham. I prefer a Premier League proven manager personally. You think what Fulham got left to play for? Yeah, they might get in Europe next year, but they're not going to win it. Let's be honest. There's not really the ceiling sort of reached there. I don't really think there's anywhere further for him to go there, where he can do more with us. Well, hopefully.
Do you think Fulham's the guy that is? What's Silva done in his career to make you think that he can take us to the next level?
The next level at the moment is 10th. So yeah, I think he can do that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I just think
we're starting again, aren't we? We're on a reset.
He's not the man to take us to the promised land. I don't think anyone is while we have these owners. But he's been in the Premier League a few times now, and he gets a group of players and he gets them playing decent football and gets them organised. And for me, that's just the start. That's where you got to start from. Get someone who does that, gets the basics right, doesn't need to. Oh, I need 10 players who can play this sort of way to have a squad. We can't do that. Remember, I said that to you last time, Sean, when we was looking after Conte. I said we can't have a manager that's going to come in and got to rip up the whole squad. The process takes too long. We don't have the money to do it. We don't want to spend the money to do it. And it just leads to disaster after disaster. Hence why we've had the squad that we've had the last few years where sort of everyone's had their hands on it and it's not really fit for purpose. So he can get something together.
He's the best of a bad bunch then, is that what you're saying, yeah?
No, I wouldn't say he's the best of a bad bunch. For me, he's just he's proven done it. He done it with Everton to an extent. And then it sort of thing. He done it with Hull when he came up, and he's took that Fulham team. I mean, he's got Iwobi looking like a £40 million player. I mean, and anyone, I mean, you know what I mean? That there's kudos there. I mean, he might even make Johnson look like a £40 million player. That'd be a plus.
They also lost their best player in the summer.
Sorry,
Blaine. What was that, mate?
They also lost their best player in the summer.
Exactly, they lost their best players.
And he stabilised.
He's had to sell players. He don't moan about it. He just got on with it, and they're having their.
But I'll say the counter argument, right? How many Fulham fans do you know, Pete?
None.
So I know 3, and they all happen to work in my local co-op where I go to pick up my 3 bottles of Thatcher's. And I said to them, Marco Silva, thoughts? And they're like, "Why are you asking?" I said, "Because we're thinking about maybe he might be a better option." And they all
That was a bombshell, weren't it?
I think he was going to say that they didn't like him.
Yeah, that's where I think he was going.
Yeah.
But hey, Pete, I disagree with you a bit. Just to play.
My nephew's a season ticket holder at Fulham, and he likes Silva. So,
but look, like, saying that we need to be more solid, that's fair. But I think that's a mid-table mentality. We can only a manager who is, let's say, you bring in any manager who you want, changing the tactics and setting us up in the right way can only get us to 7th to 8th. The biggest issue is that we don't have the talent capable of challenging. You can't. I don't care who. Well, okay. I don't care which manager we bring in, regardless of tactics. Just the talent disparity is so big right now between us and top teams. For me, I wish it was as easy as to say, bring in Silva, or whoever else, Terzic. I just don't feel like our talent.
I think we should be higher, though,
to bring in the talent capable of us challenging.
I think we should
I'm
be
not
higher.
Sure I'm not sure if I 100% agree with that, because I just think if you have a coach that can actually train and coach these players how to Udogie's not a bad player, Porro's not a bad player.
Well, how do we know that Udogie's not a bad player? We've seen him for
I
6 months.
I think if they had someone like a Pochettino who would actually coach these players how to be better rather than to leave his coaches to do it, I think that's part of a problem as well. From what I've heard, and sort of he gets his coaches that are, they're not the best. There's not the best coaches in the world. Mile Jedinak. I mean, come on, like.
It's actually Jesus Perez that does the coaching for Poch, but he's a brilliant coach.
Yeah, very good.
Pochettino is more of an overseer. Yeah.
But
there's synergy between them.
Coach a lot of these
for years. They go everywhere together, them two. So there's like a team, like Harry Redknapp's team with Joe Jordan and Kevin Bond.
That's to me the best. That's a red flag for me, Pete. Right, I'll come back to you right now. But that fact. If you have a specific way of doing your game, doing your business, like I wouldn't like Bugsy. Weird scenario, weird analogy, but Bugsy's a very specific dog. Right? She doesn't particularly get on with other dogs. She doesn't particularly like people. She likes the ball. She likes it thrown in a certain way. And I know that, but I wouldn't hand her over to someone I don't know who's a dog walker. It's either me that's doing it or it's someone that understands her. And I think that is, if you've got a specific way of playing football, why is it that you don't have a fucking specific coaching staff that know your system, know your tweaks, know your tactical diversifications from the norm, and then take them wherever you go? The fact that he doesn't, it screams to me a little bit like where I've gone before, the resources aren't there to have that. So I just inherit what I'm given and figure it out. But at this level, it's not good enough. But to your point, Pete, Harry, he had his thing. Poch, he had his group, right? And most top managers have their boys, don't they?
But let's be honest,
I mean, even if they bring one or two, isn't it?
Hang on. Sorry, I'll come back to Pete first, and then I'll let everyone else come in after that. Sorry, go on, Pete. You were saying that, so I'll let you come.
I don't know if Silva has his own little firm with him. I haven't delved that much into him, but I agree with what someone just said. We need a coach or someone who has a coaching setup. If you're going to have young players like we have, you need to have top quality players for them to learn from, or top quality coaches. At the moment, we have neither. So, what is the point of buying all this top talent if there's nothing there for them to learn from? Or anyone to nurture them? You have to have one or the other. And Silva is a good coach, or his team, whatever. If he even uses a team, they're a good coaching team. Like I said, they've got Iwobi looking like a footballer. They've made adjustments for players that have big players that have lost, and they've not suffered. They're a good team to watch. Do you know what I mean? That's all what you want. That's the starting point for me.
It's a starting point, but it shouldn't be what Tottenham are aiming for. For me, I look at him.
That's where we are. That's where we are.
No, where we are right now. It's where we are right now, but we're nowhere near now where we usually are, right? And it won't take much to get us back to where we were.
That's
so
the man
I
to do
just,
it. Get us
I
to there,
just have massive
and then we need
reservations about going on
another man after that.
Well, what about Poch?
He's not going to come yet. Levy's trying to crack America, and you want him to go and nick their coach when the year they're going to have a World Cup. It's not going to happen, is it? Stick the NFL up his after that. Yeah,
that's the best point I've heard all night.
He's not going to do it. You know what I mean? Profit talks. He ain't going to crack America by doing that. He's going to, you know what I mean? He might as well just, I don't know, he might shit on their plate for that. For what good that's going to do. That's not going to go down well. So he's going to leave that well alone.
It's going to be
I'm
18 months.
I'm not excited for Mike, so we can have him, I guess, on the Spurs, but I'm not.
After the World Cup,
there will be a time and place for that.
I don't know. I just think it's been very, very, very difficult now to convince someone to come to Tottenham for. And I take the point of whoever said it, that you start with a 2-year project, whether it's Terzic, whether it's someone else, and then you give them the platform and say, well, if you smash it, then you can keep your job. But
exactly,
in a short term, 2-year contract. I just don't think you're going to get some. I don't think you're going to get miracles out of Uriola. I don't think you're going to get it out of Marco Silva either. I think if you're looking for someone that's got a proven track record of doing the youth thing, which is what we need right now to get these boys ready for what is next, the guy before the guy, as I've always said. This is my take. That sounds to be yours. I think that we fucked up by letting Graham Potter go. And listen, I'll own it, because I was saying when Graham Potter was available, I was saying we can't sack Ange. But I think that Graham Potter has a track record of being a phenomenal player to get absolute bonus points, absolute yards out of youth. And we've got so many players. I called the list out earlier. We've got more than that. I haven't even scratched the size of what we've got. But we've got so many youth players under the age of 21. You need someone who knows how to handle a youth player. And I don't think Ryan Mason's the guy.
John, there's another man who is very good at that, who we've had in the Premier League. Do you know who that is? And I wanted him before Ange, and you all laughed at me.
Go on.
Brendan Rodgers.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'll take Brendan Rodgers right now.
Phenomenal coach with youth players.
He's a very good coach. Yeah,
he's a very good coach.
I'll take Brendan Rodgers right now. Yeah. I said you were wrong then. I'm still going to say you're wrong now, because that's just the way I roll,
Go on, Sean.
Haven't we just taken Celtic's manager? We just took Celtic's last manager. Why we want to go against Celtic?
Celtic would love to do a swap, because they still love Ange.
I'd love to do a swap and all.
Let me ask in the chat. There's ones and zeros, guys. There's still, according to my screen, there's 850 people here still. I don't know if a lot of you on Twitter or where you are, but maybe there's 400 people on YouTube. I don't know. But ones and zeros. Brendan Rodgers, would you take him for 18 months until Poch is done with the World Cup? Ones for yes, zeros for no.
Don't forget that was a manager who come very close to winning the Premier League with a Liverpool side.
And he won an FA Cup. He won an FA Cup piece.
Exactly. It's more than what we've done.
Yeah.
It's almost as universal as. Oh, no, it's not quite as universal. It's almost as universal as the Ange Outvolt. Ashley, no. Spursman, no. Gary Becks, no. Mud, no. Zozo, no. John, C13, no. Josh, no. Matt Cox, 1. Spursman, he's changed his mind, Spursman. I'll watch you. I see what's going on. You change your mind. You can't have both, you mug. Peter Simmons, 1. Dog Whispering, 0. Steadiest, he's in. He's up for Brendan. Dylan, 0, 0. 1, 1. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more 25. It's probably the same ratios as Levy in, Levy out. Most of you are Levy out. Few of you still hang around my side of the coin.
I think look at where we are.
Brendan Rodgers is the most popular. Actually, okay. Let me say zeros. So I'm gonna summarize that. Stop with the zeros and ones. Now we're gonna go 2s and 3s. Okay, I'm doing this because apparently comments are good for the algorithm. 2 for Silva.
We know you're non-binary.
Is that what it means? All right.
99
for Silva in, 69 for Silva out. How about that? 99 Silva in, 69 Silva out. Anyway, whilst we're seeing the chat, who else wanted to say something there? Blaine, I think you were coming in before I interrupted. Sorry, mate.
I don't think it was, but I mean, look, just to come back to your point, Sean, about the youth setup, I think that's a massive, massive draw for any manager at the moment.
Yeah.
If you're going to give them that platform to build something and say, right, you know what, go and prove for us. You've got 18 months, 2 years, whatever. Here's your base of players. I'd be chomping at the bit to go and develop that squad and mold it into your philosophy, into your way of playing football. So actually, I think right now we've probably got a really, really good selling point to any managers out there that want a good challenge.
For the sake of the show, Blaine, I love you, but I disagree. Managers, they're at their job for 2 years in the Prem. There's no manager that's going to want to come in and risk their job to
no one gives a shit about the next guy, do they?
And get sacked. And as far as Poch goes, look, I might get all the hate in the world. I know everybody loves Poch. I do too. But if you look at his teams, he had top talent in every position except right wing. And he had Kane and Son.
But they weren't top talent. They weren't top talent when he came in.
Correct.
In my video this morning, Eugene, I specifically said we're going to restart with the 15-16 version of Poch. Right, when he came in, or 16-17, whichever one it was, he came in. They were all young. Nobody knew what Kane was going to be, or Kane was doing it, but nobody knew what half the team was going to be. With regards, Kieran Trippier and Danny Rose and all that. He nurtured, right? He nurtured all that.
Southampton.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Bring me back, Poch. Bring me back, Poch. Go on, Jose.
We got Poch in. Why? Because he weren't first choice, but he managed the team lower down the table and got them playing good football. And
but he's the only one who's done it. He's the only one who's done it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, we went for him. We didn't know what was going to come, and it was very close to not coming for Harry Kane free kick. But what I'm saying is that we saw a manager there who went into a club and then took it over and then got them playing really good football without being really world beaters, being a team that's better than the sum of its parts, which is where we need to be.
Well, so you would turn down if Poch said, you know what, fuck it, I love Tottenham that much, I will sacrifice America. Right, sorry, America, I'll come back. You would still say I'd rather have Marco Silva than Poch right now.
No, but that's not going to happen. I've never once said
who
that.
Who would you rather have if Poch is available right now? Would you have him?
Yes.
And about you, Blaine? And go around the circle. Poch,
absolutely.
Jose, Poch,
1,000,000%.
Eugene?
No, we need somebody new. Poch.
Brian?
Oh, Pochettino.
Matt?
Yeah, Pochettino. I think he deserves another crack at the whip and to try and turn this mess around.
I'm so relieved that everyone is on the same page.
He was sold down the river by Chelsea.
Sorry, boys.
Not everyone, Eugene. Not everyone. I know
Sorry,
you said no.
apologies.
And in the second half,
Drew had the downhill earlier. Eugene, you're taking a spot.
That's okay. I just want to make the show better. I have to disagree. Otherwise, it's too kumbaya.
He was sold down the river by Chelsea. And in the second half of last season, you started seeing green shoots of what that Chelsea team could become.
Yeah.
And he improved that Chelsea team.
He should have never been sacked.
He brought a lot of those youngsters through.
That's right, and that's what we're looking for now. That we've got so many young. Mm-hmm. Our squad is so young that we do need someone that's going to come in and nurture and get the players.
He never should have been sacked at Spurs anyway. He asked for a rebuild.
Should have got the time.
He didn't get
should have got the time. Really.
He had unhappy players in his dressing room, and then they were coming to the end of the cycle as well. And they should have recognized what was going on and listened to the man because he knew what he was doing. Obviously, he proved himself.
I want a manager who is good enough to take us forward, but is also happy to be here. I feel like we're stuck in some weird little kind of grey zone whereby the managers and sometimes even the players like Matisse Tell who are coming here, they don't really want to be here. They're here because the money, they're here because they have no other option or whatever else. And there's a little bit of resentment about why they're here. I don't want that. But at the same time, if you go to the pool of people that are happy to be at Tottenham, like an Ange Postecoglou, like probably a Silva, like probably someone else, I think that those people are happy to be here because they haven't done it yet. I want someone that's done it. I want someone that almost did it with us. And I want someone that's good with the youth. And I think that if you look around the market, it's a dry market. And I think that Pochettino, I know it's going to be impossible to get him now, but for me, he is the best available option, whether that's now or in a year and a half's time.
Can you see him coming, John? Can you see him leaving the American job? I think he's a man of integrity as well. If he signs a contract to do a job, he would do a job.
I think he would love to be at Tottenham so much. I think he would. for the right money,
George,
he'd come
I
back.
think he's probably silly enough to know that this opportunity will be around another 18 months, so he can stick to his word. And then we'll be back
That's
here
true
again.
as well. That's
You know
true
what I
as
mean?
well.
So
For
you ain't got
sure,
to worry
We'll,
about
we'll
that.
be here in 18 months. Yeah, 100%. I don't. Yeah, Pete, I'm glad you came on late, mate. Because it's great to hear your takes, mate. As much as you know, well, I absolutely adore you, mate. You always say logical things. As much as you're like you lean towards the negative, but you always say the great things, guys. We have been going 2 hours, and I want to finish off because I got to go and have a wank and a pot noodle. But boys, I do want to give everyone a chance to say their final piece. So I didn't hear whoever said that because I was over talking to you. But we'll go clockwise. Any socials? Any last statements? What the fuck are we doing? How do we finish off? 30 seconds each. Blaine, I'll start with you.
Thanks, Sean. So, new channel coming, guys, at Super Spurs TV. I don't know if you want to pop it in the chat, Sean. Get subbing. I will probably be going live, first video in about a week's time. Staunchly enjoy. Please get this fraud out of our club. Bring back some glory days for us. Make me feel alive to watch a Spurs game. That's all I bloody ask. Please. And Sean, thanks again for having me. Really appreciate it.
I love you the pieces, Blaine. You're a superstar in the chat, mate, and it's great to have you in the on the channel more often. And like I say, mate, any help that I can provide you in getting your channel going, guys. He hasn't put a video out yet. He's not quite ready, but there's how many people are here? Just smash the link. If you know Blaine, you should know Blaine. Then get over there because he's going to be dabbling in the content creation space. So it's always nice to get some early support. Thank you, Blaine, for coming on, mate. Appreciate you, buddy. Eltel Cockerell, Jose. I've been calling you all night, all things all week. What's coming up on Eltel Cockerell very soon, mate?
Tomorrow I've got my predictions results show that I do. I went around 20 countries and we did 20 different fixtures from 20 different countries. I was just waiting for the last result today from the Bermuda League, and now I've got it. I've now updated the tables, and I got the correct result. Dandy.
You sound like a degenerate gambler. No, yeah. Come on, that third division Hungarian women's second division volleyball. I need that for my ACCA. I need it for my ACCA.
Dandy Town Hornets 3, Hamilton Parish 1. I got the correct prediction. It's fantastic. So yeah, I've got that coming up tomorrow, and then I'm working for the rest of the week. I'll be away with work, so I won't be back on. I'll be on tomorrow, and I'll be back on at the end of the week. But thank you very much for having me, Sean. Thank you to everyone on the panel, those that have been on the panel earlier and those that are on the panel now. Great conversation, great takes from everyone, and thank you to everyone in the chat who's participated in Sean's questioning and giving us stuff to talk about. So thank you.
Yeah, I love that, mate. Thanks for coming, mate. Appreciate it, Jose. I'm not sure if you got a channel, Eugene, but if you haven't, have you got a Twitter handle or anything? Are you on socials? Not at all.
I'm on socials. No.
Okay, so 30 seconds then. What do you want to see from Tottenham going in the next? What do you want to see the next decision from Daniel Levy? Do you want it to be a transfer in the summer, or do you want it to be a managerial decision in the next 12 hours?
It's both. I don't know if sacking Ange right now is going to do anything. Mason is going to be in. To me, I just want the season to be over. I don't want to be explaining to my son why I chose Tottenham and why we can't win trophies, as he asks me every single week. So end the season, get a new manager in, whoever it is. I just want to see a plan from the board. Just tell me if it's a youth movement or tell me if we're going to challenge, but I just want to see a logical plan that makes sense. Right now, I see no plan. I see nothing. So that's the number one thing for me. Before the managers, the players, I want to see a plan for the next 2-3 years. Until then, we'll be in the same boat again. So
I agree, mate. Thanks for coming on, Eugene. Always great contributions.
Thanks, boys. Always fun.
Appreciate you, mate. Ryan, social media plugs and final thoughts.
No, I don't have anything, Johnny. No. I think we need a fresh voice. I think we need somebody that's going to come in and get the most out of what is there at the moment, which is a lot more than what I think is being put forward by Ange at the moment. He's making too many excuses, and we need to get some good coaches in around. Somebody to bring in their own coaches, and have somebody that can actually have a chance of winning the Europa and getting someone out of this season. And then we go forward and we see how the new guy is doing, and if Pochettino's available at some point, assess it then and all that. That's my optimistic take on it.
it's difficult to be optimistic, mate, after another fucking abject shit show.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, Brian. Always good to see you, mate. And I think you are in the WhatsApp group, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Matt, mate, if you want to stick your telephone number in the private chat, I'll add you to the WhatsApp group, mate. Great contributions. Do you have a social media and final thoughts, buddy?
Just on X, it's at Matt_Robinson28. If anyone wants to follow or whatever, happy to talk on there or whatever. Yeah, I mean, really good chat. It's been good. I'm now, well, I have been for a while now, but definitely Ange out after this week. It's been abysmal. It's been pathetic. There's been no fight, not much hunger, and I don't recognise this football team or this club anymore, and it's sad and it's horrible. But hopefully, better days ahead, and I think we just want a little bit of feel good factor back. But let's hope it's around the corner anyway. We deserve some good times. I mean, we're quite a loyal, fan base, home, away, whatever. But yeah. Anyway, everyone have a good week, and yeah, just try and let's just hope we beat Man United, for God's sake.
Wow. Yeah, back at home, hopefully. Before I come to Pete quickly, I'm sorry I missed off the. If you were subscribing to LTL Cockerel, you couldn't do it via the link I put up there because I'm a donut and forgot the at. And the at's there now. Spurs, LTL Cockerel. There it is, guys.
And on Blaine's one, you missed it as well.
Oh, did I? For fuck's sake!
That's what I'm saying. The ats are missing.
Jesus Christ, Butler, you're terrible. YouTube.com/@Super Spurs TV. There's Blaine's as well. Sorry, everyone. Donut time. Pete, social media, please, links, plug, and also.
I ain't got nothing to plug, really. I ain't really nothing to plug all that. Just want to say
what you got to
channel.
plug is your ridiculously accurate yet also annoying opinions because they're very right, but also very leaning towards the negative. So who do you see coming in? What do you want to say? Last words, mate.
To be honest, I don't know who we're going to get in. We're too unpredictable at the moment. So now we need to do something. But yeah, if it's now or never, whatever. I don't want to see more. What I do want to see is when we do make this change, is that they all go, including Mason. He needs to be gone. He cannot stay at this club any longer in a manager capacity. What's that? The fourth regime he's been part of has gone tits up. He's got.
He's the common denominator. It's not Daniel Levy, Brian fucking Mason.
But he's got to go as well. But I just want to say, good luck to Blaine with the channel because you'll need it.
Cheers,
it's a lot of work. Hopefully, people support because these boys who start channels, trust me, someone who's done it, they need help. Support them because it's not as easy as it looks. There's a lot of work that you've got to do behind the scenes, grafted, and anyone else who's got a channel. But yeah, it's good to see some of the boys from the WhatsApp group put names to faces. And yeah, and I'm sorry, I know you've asked me on quite a few times, so as many people.
Right, mate.
I
know you're working,
I just don't get the time.
You get up at like 4:30 in the morning for your job, don't you? And you got kids and stuff.
I've got that to worry about as well. So
yeah, mate. Congratulations, mate. Congratulations.
You've done the job putting him to sleep.
I hope I didn't wake him up going, what the fuck is going on?
No, he's used to that. He's used to that. He's used to that for me, mate. So nothing ever don't wake him up. But no, yeah, I just don't get the time anymore. As I said, I had like 15 minutes where he went off asleep.
No,
all the best, Pete. All the best.
All the best, Pete, buddy.
All
right, guys, we're going to leave it there.
Look,
we haven't sold anything tonight, but hopefully we've found in the fan base, in the comment section, lots of zeros and ones that lean us to certain directions. And obviously we got some more opinions than just this ugly mugs. I'm about to go off and watch whatever Stelios said about me on We Are Tottenham TV. You can expect some vitriol in the coming hours or days where I'm going to absolutely annihilate that fucking idiot. And I will see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, guys, thanks very much for the super chats, by the way. Really appreciate your support. We'll see you on the next one. See you tomorrow morning. Take care. Ciao, ciao. And come on, you Spurs, I guess.
You Spurs.
Leave you out.
Bye.